Greetings, fellow Toriyama fans. Blue Dragon 5 here
And Jacob Weil.
to pay tribute to the master of manga, Akira Toriyama, celebrate 40 years of Dragon Ball proper. We're going through the animated saga that is Dragon Ball to get back in touch with our anime roots as we begin our journey into Dragon Ball.
Previously on Journey into Dragon Ball, Dragon and Jacob cheered as Goku fought his way through the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament, befriending rival Tien Shinhan in the well-fought final match. However, the celebration turned somber when Goku found his best friend Krillin dead. The murder was committed in the feared name of Demon King Piccolo, and it's up to Goku and his friends to stop his resurgence in the Demon King Piccolo Saga.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun.
dun,
Dun, dun,
dun, dun,
dun, dun,
dun, dun,
dun.
dun. Yep, this is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Very in quite a few ways. Dragon, remember when this was just a silly adventure series about a mountain boy with a tail and finding mystical orbs with the bratty teenage girl?
Yeah, it started so simple, didn't it?
Yep,
So innocent,
it sure did. Like, well, innocent is one
They're
word.
going up against a little diminutive Napoleonic blue guy. That's pretty much they're back in simpler times.
Innocent's one way to describe that.
We're putting rabbits on the moon.
Yep, we're flashing old men.
Well,
I,
sure.
yeah, it's like that's
You know,
the last.
we got pigs wishing for underwear. It was a very simple, naive time.
And now we have literal demons.
Yes.
well, what we thought were demons, but
Well, I mean, essentially demons, but yeah.
yeah, what we thought were demons at the time.
Yeah, I mean, retroactively, they're back to being demons, but let's not get caught up in semantics.
All right then. I'm guessing that's a Daima thing.
Yeah, but I don't want to really, I don't want to entertain that. But yeah.
Okay. but yeah, this is definitely a big one. I mean, the dragon. What do you? I guess you should start out, Dragon.
Sure. So yeah, the Demon King Piccolo saga. This was like the event story of Dragon Ball. This was you're on the edge of your seat after the end of the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament. Like everything was going so well, and then dead Krillin. It's like, oh my god, the world stopped. And again, this arc has such a serious tone of avenging our fallen friends, and the gag manga humor is at a minimum. I'm not saying it's not there, but it is at a minimum. Like barely there.
There is kind of a character introduced in this arc that kind of has a bit of a gag element to him.
Oh, sure, but I'm just saying in general, like we have like sprinklings of the gag manga, but again, it's few and far between here, given like the tone of what we're going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I mean, this I remember just watching it again. I was on the edge of my seat watching it, a bit of it as a kid. I remember like this is when honestly towards the Piccolo stuff was mainly I didn't have the luxury of getting all of the Piccolo stuff, being able to watch it. I read it. That's the thing. I read through the mangas. Like for example, our last Dragon Ball centric arc. That one was pretty much for the longest time it was through the manga, but this one I think was half and half. I think the majority of this was I did see some of it air, and because it was an event, I was just on the edge of my seat tracking it. I want to say I saw the whole thing, but I don't want to. I don't know. I remember a lot of it in kind of pages. Cause some of our fillery stuff I think I may have kind of missed out on, and maybe for the better in hindsight. But we'll get into that. Uh, the point being, Goku, he's not as lighthearted in places here. He's angry, he's impulsive, which is a first. We've never seen, Goku's always been kind of our lighthearted, it's kind of our pure youth, just trying to improve himself, and, gets, fights in a tournament here and there. It goes on a very kind of insurmountable quest with a great deal of lighthearted optimism. But Goku's on a mission this season, guys. He really is.
A revenge mission.
Yeah, which is uncharted territory. We've never seen Goku this mad at anyone. And I love the drama of the story. I love how unstoppable and menacing Demon King Piccolo is. We looking back on it, just rewatching it. Yeah, for all the great that is in this arc, we do spin our wheels a bit in the adaptation, from what I understand, comparing it to the manga, where manga is, I think, lot more kind of like to the meat of the story. Kind of took the Kai approach, where he cut out, it's pretty much like the events are happening kind of back to back, all the big kind of greatest hits of this arc. And I'm not saying that what we have is bad. I'm just saying that if you really look at it in hindsight, it's like there is a lot of stall time. We're like, okay, we're kind of spinning our wheels, we're cutting back to what other people are doing while the big battle's going on. And the hindsight feels like maybe Demon King Piccolo could have been a little bit shorter. It could have been just a little shorter to like maybe we had the whole fight instead of breaking up the fight.
Yeah.
But again, these are this is the trade off of animation, where you have certain quotas you got to fill. Anyway, so in hindsight, we also maybe sorry, in hindsight, maybe we kind of we shorthanded the Pilaf gang as well.
Yeah, kinda. I
Short
guess.
kind of shortchanged in the Pilaf gang's inclusion. But this is very pathos driven. In the I think one of the highlights of this whole thing is the Roshi and Tien side story. All the side stuff we get, that to me is the most ironclad. Just like that's all gravy. That's great, and obviously the payoff. There are a lot of jaw dropping moments in this arc. And again, this kind of is a testament to Dragon Ball can both make you laugh, make you cheer, and at times make you cry.
That'd make you wonder what the heck's gonna happen next.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's definitely some matchstick moments in this one.
Oh yeah.
But also includes one of the best fights. One of the best fights through Dragon Ball.
Does that include like all the subsequent stuff?
Subsequent stuff.
You mean like Z, GT,
Yeah,
like
I would
Super?
say I would say in the tomes of just all the Dragon Ball, like not factoring in Super. Super's like a whole ball of wax. We add the kitchen sinks thrown in there. So it's always weird to include Super. Let's just say in the tomes of classic Dragon Ball and even GT. I'm just saying, like a lot of Goku versus Jackie Chun and Goku versus Demon King Piccolo. These two, I think, do kind of like they go past the boundaries of like just sectioning off the Dragon Ball. Those are like all timer fights. So those two fights, and let's just say probably one of the fights that we have coming up, very important in the history of Dragon Ball. Period. So yeah, this is yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So, all right. So I guess it's my turn.
Yes.
Like, yeah, going into this, I mean, obviously, having watched a lot of Z first, like many other people have, I was obviously more familiar with the other Piccolo that the series has. The one who trains Gohan, trains little young Gohan, kid Gohan, and eventually joins the good guys. So it's like I was kind of going into Uncharted, and I knew of Demon King Piccolo. But I didn't know exactly what his story was, if that makes sense.
So you kind of had a little bit of what I had the first time I got to this, because I had seen going through Dragon Ball. I did because Toonami was a thing at this point. Like there
Yeah.
was a lot of advertising. So yeah, I had seen some of Z. I was very much of the stubborn Dragon. I've always been a stubborn Dragon Ball fan in terms of like when they were airing both of the shows. I was like, I don't want Z. I just want Dragon Ball. And with that, it was like, so I saw a little bit of this Piccolo guy, and then of course it was always like in the beginnings of Dragon Ball, they always spoke of like his past, which obviously we actually see in our next saga. But it was the thing of like, where's getting an origin point for it all. It was like, oh, it was this really mind bending sort of like, okay, that's where it came from. And you hear like he's a junior. It's like, junior, what are you talking about? Why are they throwing junior all over the place? You say, oh my god, senior was he was a monster.
Oh yeah. So in a way, because I didn't really like religiously watch Z back in the day. Obviously, through pop culture osmosis, I kind of saw that. I kind of knew about him. If that also makes sense. so, but so it's like that. I basically went into this like knowing almost nothing about. I knew like the basics of how it went. Oh, like that Demon King Piccolo was not was the first original Piccolo and all that, but not how the actual story went. So Krillin's. I remember. I even told you. Remember last time Krillin's death did come up as that death came out of as a bit of a surprise because I'm familiar with his other death later on, as I also mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So seeing him killed there was actually quite shocking, especially considering the tone of this show so far.
Hmm.
So he's like, I mean, basically that's where that exact moment is probably where the show went from like being like the lighthearted adventure martial arts show that it was into becoming something much darker, right? Would you say?
Well, more serious.
Well, more serious. Yeah, maybe not darker is the right word, but definitely more serious. It's like so going. So yeah, I was kind of uncharted territory going to like pretty much majority of this has been. And I gotta say, I was actually really impressed with it. I can see where some of the filler was, but Demon King Piccolo just proved to be as like this, deliciously nasty demon villain. Just like he's completely redeemable. He's evil. He loves it. It's like more villains. I love villains like that. I mean, like I love complicated, villains with deep motivations and things like that. But sometimes you just love a like a straight up literal demonic character who just is just evil for the sake of being evil.
Yeah.
And that's Piccolo to me. He literally has the word demon or devil written on his shirt.
Yeah.
So that already so not pulling any punches with that one, are they, Dragon?
Sometimes evil isn't subtle, Jacob.
Yep, like so, like whereas previously we had like Tien who was like kind of like pretending to be evil. Now we have a straight up evil character.
Hmm.
Like he goes like obviously his first act. Well, he didn't actually kill Krillin, but he set it in motion, and that kind of sets everything off. And I gotta
Yeah.
say, the fight that this is definitely tell where they upped like the intensity into the fights. You can tell like people are actually like, whereas like a lot of the previous matches were kind of just fighting to win. This is like people actually fighting for their lives. I mean, I gotta say that like I really enjoyed this arc. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of times where like I was actually genuinely surprised by what was going on. All right, I'm done.
Okay. All right. So I guess to get things started, so we left Goku and everyone at the tournament where they find Krillin's body. And Goku, he's very upset, and he's keyed up, he's charged, he's gonna go avenge Krillin. He's gonna get a beat on the guy because he knows. Okay, well he took the and Goku's he's kind of smart, but he's also reckless here. He's smart in that. Okay, he's got the Dragon Ball. I can use the Dragon Radar to find him before he gets away.
Yep, but
So
then
smart.
not,
On
not
the flip side, though, he does not heed Master Roshi's very smart warning.
yeah, to basically if someone's able to kill Krillin that quickly, and especially after Goku had just been through this rigorous fight, he's in no condition to pursue whatever killed Krillin.
Yeah, you have to remember, he burned up all his energy fighting Tien, and he's on empty stomach.
Yeah, because he was afraid D because he felt like something was going on with because he was worried about Krillin At
which I'd
least,
argue is the first time he's sensing power levels, which just kind of adds to that moment.
which actually kind of does come up later on in this arc, as it's
Yeah,
mentioned. So it's entirely possible, considering what I'm jumping a bit ahead. Considering what Master Korin mentioned later after Goku's training, I can kind of see that.
so that's the thing. So Roshi again, this is a big moment where essentially the last time for a long while, because they're not going to see each other for essentially 3 years. After this moment, Goku, his last exchange with Master Roshi, it's not exactly warm and fuzzy, and Roshi, he gets, he dies since this moment. Just Roshi's like commands Goku to stay, and Goku, kind of disobeys him. And that's a big moment because remember Roshi is kind of in the tournament. The whole point of that of Roshi's story in there was that he was kind of realizing the next generations. He's kind of out. I'm not. This is going to sound kind of more sad than I mean it to be, but I'm just saying in a sense he's kind of outgrown his purpose, like outlived his usefulness. I mean, by the kind of context of this story, in which he's passed it on to the next generation via Tien is kind of like the potential kind of Roshi of the bunch, but then of course as like someone who could rival Goku. And then Goku has kind of surpassed his limits, so Goku technically doesn't have to heed what Master Roshi says anymore. And in this moment, we kind of see it where Goku just kind of runs off, not heeding his master's warning not to go, which he really should have done. Otherwise, things might have taken a different turn.
It's like it's kind of an interesting dichotomy of like the student has surpassed the teacher in a way, but also hasn't learned everything the teacher has to teach him.
It's a very Luke in Empire moment, where you have like Yoda like warning him not to go until he's mastered his training, and we saw how that went. So that's essentially what we have here.
Yes, but Master Roshi does stay behind to explain to everyone else what exactly killed Krillin.
You know how it's a serious Dragon Ball story?
When Master Roshi isn't doing anything perverted.
Well, I mean, okay, sure. I was going to go a little more visual, Jacob, but he doesn't have sunglasses on.
Ah, all right, that makes
Because
more
remember,
sense.
that's kind of blending the Master Roshi and Jackie Chun. So again, him without those sunglasses,
Yeah.
that's again, it's like he means business. And I don't really put the sunglasses on like when they're gathering the Dragon Balls, but I'm saying between then and between when the glasses are off, Roshi means business.
Yep, he's not like, his story was actually very even it kind of explains even the thing is it also fills in the gap of what exactly happened with him and the Crane and Master Crane.
Well, since you brought it up, let's get into it. So, the
All right.
lore of Demon King Piccolo, basically, Roshi kind of, it's some nice exposition in terms of like him telling the tale. He finds the symbol of Demon King Piccolo, and it brings back memories, and we basically fill in the gaps of who the heck is Demon King Piccolo. Where again, it would make sense that somebody who was there would know all the information.
Yep, and the thing is like they do kind of laugh at his name, but any kind of levity is kind of immediately gone when you see like what Piccolo actually did.
Yeah,
Like they laugh at his name, because like all the demons are named after instruments.
yeah,
But they quickly realize Piccolo is no laughing matter.
yeah. So, like seeing that logo makes Roshi's blood run cold. Between Krillin's death and this, it really shifts our lighthearted tone into an event story. We're basically it's like kind of the coming of Galactus, kind of a story.
Yep, and especially with him and Master Mutaito.
Okay, so basically with the origin for the Crane School here, the idea is that years ago Roshi and Shen, their Master Mutaito, who, by the way, I'm convinced that Roshi patterned Jackie Chun as like a tribute to Mutaito. If you really look at Mutaito's hair and everything, that's more of a headcanon kind of a thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, there's nothing saying it couldn't have happened.
Who's
It's
to
like
say?
it's a tribute to his master.
Yep.
Anyway, so the idea is way back in the day, and I love how we can visually show this because we've seen a young Master Roshi who, he had like the hair and the sunglasses and everything. So this is like him kind of in his Krillin and Tien kind of phase where, he had like the shaved head, kind of very young. It's way before he climbed Korin's tower. At
Before he
least I
became
think.
before he became the Turtle Master.
I believe so. I believe this is before he climbed Corn's Tower, if memory serves.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense chronologically.
Anyway, so the point being, years ago, there was this invading demon monster that was laying waste to the world, and it was up to Mutaito and his students to stop the monsters and put an end to Demon King Piccolo's rampage and like plunging the world in the darkness. And it was this whole
He was unstoppable. Nobody could even like put a dent in his forces.
yeah, and his numbers dwindled. He went down from many students that basically just Roshi and Shen.
Yeah, basically, and but then Master Mutaito basically committed to went disappeared for years, ashamed that he couldn't defeat Piccolo.
Yeah, so he suffered a defeat, and I think this is the fine line between Roshi and Shen, and the origin of the Crane schools. That what they both took away from Mutaito's defeat really shaped who they were. Where Roshi, he took away that sometimes in failure you learn your greatest lessons that lead ultimately to success, which is basically
Which is what he tried to teach Goku and Krillin at the martial arts tournaments.
yeah. And again, it's a whole like the value in defeat, with the
Yeah.
whole Jackie Chan of it all.
Yep.
And so that shaped him to his core about everything. And then on the flip side, Shen, he basically saw this as weakness, which of course he reinforced his whole thing with his brother and the whole, the mercenaries and assassins and just being the strongest and uh, profiting off of strength, all this. But again, he looked at it as like he idolized Mutaito and he saw him in a defeated, and that really just shook him. And, well, sorry, not just defeat. Sorry, it's not just the defeat, but it's the fact that he seemingly ran away, he seemingly walked away in disgrace. That's what really, again, Shen just took away the complete wrong lesson there.
Like and created a lot of problems for people down the line too.
Oh yeah,
And not
it's a
only
generation. It's kind of a generational thing.
yep, but Mutaito, as it turns out, had a good reason for walking away.
Yes, he had to learn a technique that could defeat Demon King Piccolo, which basically resulted in the evil containment wave.
And basically, in this powerful beam that would be able to hit Piccolo with, and control and basically contain him within an electric rice cooker.
Yeah, basically, it's just this energy wave that basically like a tornado, kind of like spins him and seals his essence into a rice cooker, which then got thrown into the ocean, which sadly Emperor Pilaf and company found.
Yep, and they're helping him find the Dragon Balls in exchange for a little sliver of the world once he takes it over.
With the Joseph Campbellian kind of logic here, kind of pulling from like all the great sources, it feels like Toriyama was going for like a kind of like Pilaf probably saw Demon King. He saw the rice cooker and was like kind of like a somebody find the genie's lamp, where you unearth this ancient power, which again Dragon Ball is built on the foundation of kind of the lore of the genie to a degree.
Kinda.
I'm just saying, like, obviously not verbatim. I'm just saying it's a quest, and then you get a wish. So it's very much like the power, the phenomenal cosmic power.
Hey, itty bitty living space.
Well, seven itty bitty living spaces, but yes,
Yes, doesn't roll off the tongue as well though.
no, it doesn't. So, mind you, we don't really see like Pilaf discover. We basically kind of like express all this in dialogue that he found it somewhere, probably presumably in the ocean, because we know it's where it was.
Why was Peel off in the ocean? Who cares?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't have the sound effect for this.
Hmm.
And this one, I'll try and see if I can find it. But go on.
Anyway, so but yeah, so Pilaf basically he's just trying to get on King Piccolo's good side because I think the world's known about Demon King Piccolo, but it's been so many hundreds of years, it's just kind of fallen by the wayside. And this Pilaf thinks he could kind of maybe kind of like get on his good side and kind of use him to lay waste and get it. Basically the best parallel I have for the best comparison I could ever have for you, which again may be intentional because we know Toriyama's done a reference to this here and there, like in the Doctor Slump kind of detour in the Red Ribbon Army saga. There's we have a few Superman nods in this arc, and this one feels a lot like Superman 2. Which by the time this was made, this probably would have been probably fresh after, not directly after, but around very close to the release of Superman 2. This is very much like like it's Lex Luthor, trying to buddy up to General Zod, and the whole he wants Australia.
I mean, Australia is pretty neat, pretty good piece of land.
Yeah, so that's the idea here. So basically, Pilaf, he's in the Lex Luthor kind of. He's just very very weak, but he has aspirations of power, and he wants like any even swampland. He'll take anything.
Well, I mean, I think that Lex Luthor would have better chances against Zod than Pilaf would against Piccolo.
Well, that's true. Oh, by the way, on the rewatch, completely forgot about this. With the very sparse gag manga humor that we have in this, which again it stands out all the more because there's so few of it. I noticed this really weird, bizarre gag. Pilaf is trying to get on Piccolo's good side, and he's basically showing him kind of girly mags. It's not just girly mags; it's hippo girly mags.
Oh god! And he also tried to show him like his family albums.
Yeah. Well, no, I think no, Jake. That's the weird thing. He said it was his family album, but in reality, it was the girly mags.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, it is. It's a bizarre joke.
Yeah, and Piccolo's not amused.
Well, no, he's sleeping with his eyes open, which is creepy.
Well, yeah, like that's what I mean. He's not amused because he's sleeping. He's like Piano, his assistant, she's kind of an interesting character, by the way.
You're getting she from?
Isn't that Piano? Isn't that what she is?
I don't know. Well, no, I'm saying he. I don't know. I assumed it was a he. I don't know.
All right. Well, either way, Piano, Piccolo's assistant, basically tells him that he sleeps with his eyes open, and it's kind of freaky. So even when he's asleep, it looks like he's watching you.
So let's look at the scale too. The scale's always big in Toriyama's work. He likes playing with height and stuff. So the fact that Demon King Piccolo, he's huge. I don't mean just like tall. I just mean like he's like scaled to be like bigger because he's a demon. He's kind of bigger than life. And this time we kind of play with later on in like some of the Dragon Ball stuff where well, mind you, this is kind of like a little off the reservation, but like Lord Slug, for example, the idea of a huge Namekian.
All right.
So it's kind of like playing off the idea of just having kind of Namekians, or I guess demons in this case, of just like kind of a larger size.
Yeah, but Piccolo, he's very big,
but also very old. So we establish that he aged inside the rice cooker, and I love that in his introduction, in the old version of King Piccolo. He has like Emperor Palpatine vibes from Star Wars, and I really like that.
Yeah, and it even establishes that even in his more advanced age, he's still like the most powerful being on the planet.
Yeah,
basically, right?
Well, that's the thing. That's kind of the cool retroactive thing here with you have Piccolo and Dragon Ball Z, and you get the origin for like. His origin being essentially he's linked to Earth's greatest foe and Goku's biggest challenge in the series.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like even when he's an old demon, he's the most powerful being Goku's ever faced.
So we see the some of the cool and creepy things that Piccolo can do here, where he can spawn demon children.
From his mouth.
Yeah, asexually. Essentially, he lays an egg. He coughs up an egg, like old people coughing up crap. He coughs up a giant egg.
Yep, and he names them after musical instruments.
Yep, because he's a lover of the arts.
Yep, timpani, like drum.
No, tambourine.
Tambourine. No, timpani is technically would actually kind of work with that, but.
Well, no, it would have worked. I'm just saying there is no timpani.
Yeah, right. Tambourine.
Maybe one of his several hundred children that we didn't get to know is probably. You're right. He's probably named Tiffany, but
Yeah, you're right. Tambourine. Still within the percussion family, though.
No, you're right. I'm not saying yours is. We
I
never
mean,
meet yours, but yours I know could have been one of the several hundred children of the flashback.
I know him. I remember it is tambourine. I'm not saying you're. I'm not saying I was right. I can't. I got my instruments mixed up.
The point being, so we got I guess the list off the kids here. We got piano. Presumably was first.
I mean,
We got
I mean, he's the like Piccolo's main assistant.
yeah. You got piano. You got tambourine. You got cymbal. You got drum.
All of the ones we see are basically percussion instruments,
Yes.
except Piccolo, which is, I believe, a wind instrument.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting there.
Well, I mean, look, if you want to read into kind of like the instruments themselves, I don't think Toriano put this much thought in it, but let's just assume he did. Again, it's kind of like the Pied Piper thing, where the piccolo is like the summoning call; it's the summoner. Everything else is like again the powerful drums and all this kind of thing. The things that are closer to piccolo and really deadly. Tambourine. There's like you still have to pound the tambourine, but there's still kind of like a kind of a light kind of touch to it. So the light touch is why it's kind of like the ability to fly. It's kind of the finesse. It's again a little bit like again Piccolo seemed to be proud of tambourine.
Yep, very that nobody can defeat tambourine.
Yeah,
So Goku makes his way to the one who killed Krillin, chasing the Dragon Ball.
which is tambourine.
Yes.
So yeah, so tambourine again. So basically, he's been tasked with catching, gathering the Dragon Balls, so King Piccolo can wish for eternal youth. Which again, I love that detail. Where again, I love that we see all the cool things that Piccolo can do, but we make a fine point that the more children that he spawns, the more he accelerates his age. So there is a risk to what he's doing there. And there is like, it's the idea this guy's very menacing. You want him to be defeated. And you have like these openings of, okay, if he's getting a little weaker, this is good for our side.
But then Toriyama does a lot of 180s with that.
That he does. Even at his weakest, he's still pretty darn powerful.
Yep.
So, okay, the other thing, so Tambourine's tasked with gathering the Dragon Balls and using the roster, because the roster was taken when he showed up there to basically kill all the martial artists that could possibly oppose Demon King Piccolo. And I love the detail, the almost Captain Hook-esque kind of touch. Which, by the way, this is the kind of observation I think is like in conjunction with this, in preparation for this, just for the heck of it, I've been playing through Kakarot again.
Yeah.
And in Kakarot, my favorite part about that game is the DLC, in which you get to play, the basically the tail end of Demon King Piccolo, and then 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament. And I bring it up. Sorry. What was I? Sorry, I'm trying to remember the exact point with. Sorry.
Hmm.
Oh, right. So he used so he's using the roster to kill the martial artists who possibly oppose him because when you're.
So he's basically trying to prevent anyone that could potentially learn the.
Oh, right. Sorry. No, I got it. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I remember where I was going with it. Basically, I bring up the Captain Hook vibe because when I back on it, you in the preparation for the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, you have Mercenary Tao feature. Like a flashback. Tien's meditating and thinking back to when he was training with Mercenary Tao. And when that happens, it just reminds me that Mercenary Tao is a lot like the something Conrad, H. Conrad, the guy who voiced Captain Hook.
Hans Conried?
It was Hans Conried?
Conried, I think.
Yeah, so Hans Conried. It's
Go on, anyway.
Anyway, Mercenary Tao's voice reminds me a lot of Captain Hook, of the original Captain Hook from Peter Pan, if you really listen to him. And on the flip side, I connect it to this because Demon King Piccolo, he has kind of a Captain Hook kind of like crocodile fear of the evil containment wave.
And it is Hans Conried.
Okay, so Hans Conried, yeah. So it's kind of funny, like a little bit of Hans Conried and Mercenary Tao. If you just kind of listen to it. On the flip side, you have just kind of characters with like these very like the idea that Demon King Piccolo has a very palpable fear of the evil containment wave because it sealed him away for so many years and took his youth away from him. It's I love that he has like PTSD about it, and every time it comes in, for example, when Goku does Kamehameha Wave later, he
Yeah.
initially is fearing that it's the evil containment wave, and then he's relieved, like, okay, it's something else.
And then he completely just shrugs it off.
Yeah,
Like, but yeah, the thing is that that's why he's like having all the martial artists, killed. He doesn't want anyone alive that could potentially learn the evil containment wave.
exactly. So Tambourine defeats, again, Goku. He played hurt. He fought like again, completely depleted of energy. He was going off half cocked, and he got defeated very brutally. And also, now this, is a bit of a continuity thing, but he kills the Nimbus.
I was even thinking, I was like, can you can you just call another one like you did during the Red Ribbon Army saga?
That's the thing. So in the Red Ribbon Army saga, I always read it that the Nimbus, it's a cloud, so it can't be destroyed. That's the way I read it. That Goku. Now, mind you, later on we have a different workaround here, but I'm saying until this point, that was the assumption. The Nimbus wasn't actually destroyed. Now, as a kid, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, wait, how's the Nimbus going?
Yeah.
So that's more of a Toriyama forgot kind of a thing.
Either that or just like he's so powerful he even just he's destroyed the Nimbus with no means to resummon it. But that's never explained, so it probably
Yeah.
is more like a Toriyama forgot.
I'm just saying, look, if you take it at face value, you have to assume, okay, this is a more powerful attack, so it is probably actually destroyed. But in reality, it feels like Toriyama didn't want Goku to be able to fly away, so it's usually what happens with the Nimbus. In the Red Ribbon Army saga, we need Goku to be on foot. Think about it. It's kind of the we're erasing the crutch of the Nimbus Cloud at 3 points in the history of Dragon Ball. Okay, Red Ribbon Army saga, we need him to go on foot.
When,
After
when he's training for the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament.
exactly, we need him to travel, and we can't have we need to draw up the stakes of the old guys are going to make it in time, so we can't give him the Nimbus.
Even though he could have just, even though we learned that you could have gotten here on the cloud.
Yeah, and here we have the thing with we need Yajirobe, so so because of that we got to get rid of the Nimbus.
Yeah, speaking of like Yajirobe, he's kind of been introduced in kind of a gag manga way.
That's what I'm saying. So he's kind of like the most gag manga element that we have here.
And even then, he's played more seriously than some of the other gag stuff.
Yeah. So in building the Yajirobe, real quick. So I want to talk about Toriyama's plotting, which again, I think from this point, honestly, you got to remember, there's a lot of foundational elements that we have aside from the World Martial Arts Tournament. Obviously, there's a lot of foundational elements of Dragon Ball, of Dragon Ball Z specifically, that we begin in the Demon King Piccolo saga. So for one of these things, again, with the big event story that we have, right, we have like an unstoppable force kind of a thing. This is where we introduce our first true blue Dragon Ball villain, like which traditionally Dragon Ball Z is known for a really memorable rogues gallery, and this is kind of like the beginning of that. Where the way it works in the plotting is like we have a rare loss for Goku, and there's recovery time, and while he's doing that, we kind of we have story going on elsewhere, and they all line up eventually by the third act.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very much kind of like we're going to see with Frieza and all this kind of stuff, where unstoppable force. Goku's taking out during the Ginyu thing. He's in the stupid he's in the stupid back the tank.
And that's after the hyperbolic time chamber.
No, that's before the hyperbolic time chamber.
Oh, I was like, oh, all right.
But no, you see, but that's what I'm saying. It's like yet another, these are the kind of plot stuff that Toriyama kind of comes up with.
Yep, gotta. I mean, it's a formula that works.
Yep. Well, actually, I'm sorry, Jacob. Scratch it. Well, here's the thing. You're not wrong, but it's not. I'm not in the way you think. You'll see what I'm talking about. I don't want to give it away.
I mean, I've seen, like I said, seen Z, well, mainly Kai. So
yeah.
So my memory might be a little bit fuzzy there.
No, I'm saying your memory's fuzzy on the hyperbolic time chamber in Z, but technically we somewhat introduce it, not in the way that you see it in Z. We kind of we kind of retcon like how it works when we get the Z. Z it's a lot easier, but we might be seeing it soonish.
All right.
I'll say that much. Anyway, okay. Anyway, yeah. So just with the plotting again. So we also some things that we should probably mention. So we kill off a bunch of martial artists that we established in the 22nd. So we killed Nam, thankfully off screen because I don't think my heart could take like killing off Nam.
Of course not.
King Choppa, we killed King Choppa to show that okay, what this guy means. Tambourine means business. Palmfoot, uh, Man Wolf, which is really brutal the way we killed Man Wolf, by the way. And also Giran. Yeah, so we killed off a. Yes, we killed off a bunch of them. So let's see. So I already listed off the kids. We have piano, tambourine, cymbal, drum, and obviously by the very end, Junior. That King Piccolo. He's a busy guy. 5 kids in like the pretty much less than a month. So he gets around. So the other thing to mention too with tambourine is with King Piccolo's children is that he really much values his children. He has a sense he values his children, but not lovingly. He only values them as not just assets, but like his legacy and his ego, and the fact if one of his kids, one of his demon spawn gets killed off, it's an affront to him and like his power and like undermines him. So that's what really upsets him. And also, he literally put kind of his heart and soul into him to a degree. So it's like he is getting a little weakened by the birth of these guys. So if his foot soldiers are taken out this easily, it's kind of putting a detriment to what he's doing, what he's trying to do. Anywho, so let's see. So Goku again, he's licking his wounds, and of course the surefire way to heal, basically the way Goku's power works in Dragon Ball, and honestly in Dragon Ball Z as well, if you really want to think about it. But Dragon Ball specifically put a fine point on it that the way to heal in Dragon Ball is food. The sense of being essentially is food for 10 days. So by proxy of that, Goku can recover thanks to his again retroactively his Saiyan biology, but to do that he needs food. So he finds a giant fish that is just magically there and is cooking on open fire. But what Goku doesn't realize is that fish is someone's breakfast. I know, folks. I said it. Breakfast, not breakfast. Breakfast. That's right. This giant fish, as per all the fish in Toriyama style, giant fish belonged to the mountain man Yajirobe. So Yajirobe, who always to me sounded, I know he's not him, I now know this, Yajirobe always sounded like Chris Sabat to me.
Yeah, I can. Let's see. I don't know really who voices him. I can kind of see where you're coming from, though. On first glance, on first listen, you kind of would think he would be voiced by Chris Sabat.
Yeah, because I think here, as a kid, he always sounded. Here's the reason I always thought he was Chris Sabat. If you listen to Yajirobe sounds a lot like Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho,
which I have yet to start watching.
Trust me, I think you'll be gobsmacked. Oh my god, it sounds so much like Yajirobe.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see that. I mean, first time, like I said, listening to him, you would think he was Chris Sabat.
I don't know if Mike McFarlane does the voice of Yajirobe or not. Essentially, I think the voice actor on Master Roshi. I don't know if it's the same.
I think it is.
It is.
As I said, I think it is.
Okay.
I think I kind of see where you're coming from, though.
Yeah. Anyway, so Yajirobe. So Goku eats Yajirobe's fish.
And it is Mike McFarlane.
Okay, good. Yes, it's good range, by the way. Roshi and Yajirobe.
Yeah, they probably gave it to him because Master Roshi dies.
Yeah, it's an entertaining character though. Yajirobe's a lot of fun. So speaking of which, so he's basically this mountain man friend that Goku makes, and he's basically the idea is they're kind of like it's a little like well, not aside from friends, there's maybe a air of like kind of big brother, little brother kind of a thing, a little bit.
And he's introduced when Goku eats his giant fish.
Yes. Eats it, not just his fish, Jacob, his breakfast.
Breakfast, yeah.
Yeah. My breakfast. Those
Yep.
Yadros always sounds funny too. The voices cracks me up.
It's like and Goku has no idea what a breakfast is.
Yep. To be fair,
Like,
I don't think many do.
like breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast.
Breakfast. There's very much of kind of an ever lovable blue eyed thing quality to Yajirobe. You just can't quite deny.
Like yeah, it's like it's established that he likes to eat a lot.
So I think the idea of Yajirobe is that he's basically what if Goku never met Bulma and left the mountains.
Yeah, you can kind of see that.
That's kind of the idea I always kind of got from Yajirobe, and it's that he's. I will say this, okay, with Yajirobe, I was always shocked because again, Yajirobe I had known, he shows up in Dragon Ball, in Dragon Ball Z. That's always kind of where I knew Yajirobe from initially. I know he's in his role in the Saiyan saga, but I never like I always figured, well, I wonder when we introduce Yajirobe and seeing, oh wow, there he is. That's how we ended up at Korin's Tower. Okay. But yeah, I was never crazy. I wasn't crazy about the misunderstanding component of like the whole thing where initially before they kind of make up over the fish, it was like the whole thing like thinking he's a liar and the whole they're kind of fighting each other a little bit, a little fighty fight.
And then Goku chasing him for the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, which I mean again, so just a little bit of gag manga goes a long way. Where it's just like okay, he's giving chase the Yajirobe, and then Yajirobe realizes later on the whole these monsters are going to keep coming so long as you have that Dragon Ball around your neck, which initially means more food, but on the flip side means Demon King Piccolo, which is like, hey, here you go, take it. Well, wait, I thought you wanted this so we can so you can cook them up and eat them. It's like, no, you can have them.
It is kind of funny to see Tambourine just like wondering where like how seeing how fast the Dragon Balls are moving.
Yeah.
Like it's like so that's the thing. He thinks he killed Goku, but then when he finally sees Goku alive,
Of course, all the peel off gang just being like, oh god, what have I got myself into? He actually killed the boy.
it's like they really the boy that's been giving them so much trouble over the course of these adventures is now they think Piccolo finally killed them, killed
Yep.
him.
So he conjures Symbol and basically he divvies up the task and Symbol ends up having a run in with Yajirobe and Goku, and basically Yajirobe, impressively, he takes out Symbol.
And basically one swipe of his sword.
Yeah, no, I would argue that Piccolo, honestly, the way this is my headcanon, there's no proof one way or another. This, I like to think that the reason Yajirobe was able to take out this guy because he was weaker than the other creations of Piccolo because, as we established, each birth takes a lot out of him. So, piano obviously most sophisticated in terms of being an assistant and everything for him. Then tambourine basically being kind of like the other most like again, all of his strength was put into this guy. Symbol, remember, symbols given the given what we know about these guys and the roles that they serve, Piccolo probably he creates them with a purpose, and that's kind of what they're designed to fulfill. So obviously, the last one is the most impressive because that's pretty much like he's putting everything into that creation to fulfill that purpose. Presumably, okay, piano, assistant extraordinaire, tambourine, again, seemingly the only muscle and lackey I'm going to need, but I want to expedite things. I'm going to create Symbol, and Symbol's purpose
Which
was
the
the
fact
Dragon Balls, which is not a combat specific role.
basically to be a living ball
Yeah,
radar.
exactly. It's these retrieval. That's all he is.
But
And
but even
drum is muscle though. And that's also when he's younger and stronger when he's able to make drums. That's what I'm saying. Drum is like I think those. I don't know.
I mean that is a good headcanon.
Yeah, just applying some logic to it there. Whether there's actual logic there or not, no idea.
I mean, considering this series, who knows? Like Toriyama could be like, you could ask him something. He's like, yeah, sure, why not?
We also show that Goku draws the line of cannibalism.
Yep. Hey, cannibalism would be eating another human, but
Well, still, I mean, like another living being, and not just like an animal, but it's like it's a person. It's kind of like
it's a demon.
yeah, but it's sentient.
I mean, well, I mean, so are most of the other, so are a lot of creatures on this in this friggin' show.
Yeah, that's the fine line though. It's like technically oolong would be on the menu.
And I think that has the show established non-sentient pigs or not or
I
non-safe. I mean, but then I think the word we're looking for is sapient with when it comes to pig when it comes to oolong. But
I mean we've had farms, but I don't recall seeing pigs on those farms.
I mean, because there's a difference between sentient and sapient. Because I think like sentient just means basically aware of your existence and alive, whereas like
Hmm.
sapient is human. It means human-like.
Yeah, we have a comment.
Like, it's like a little blue man. Nobody showed up in the comment section, but not many more. Leave a comment. It's over 9,000.
So for 9,000.
Apparently, in the original version, the original Japanese, it's 8,000.
Yeah, but 9,000's better.
It does sound cooler,
Yeah. It's over 9,000.
and it's 9,001.
Yeah.
I mean, it's over 9,000, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is.
Or is it 9,000 and a half?
Don't be that guy.
uh, hey, okay, it's 9,000 and a quarter. 9,000 and a quarter.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. So
Anyway.
another thing with Piccolo is that he immediately feels the death of his spawns.
Yes, and like I was getting at Jacob earlier, I love that he values his children, but not in the traditional sense. He values them not specifically as assets, but like as his legacy and as like a reflection of his ego and his power. So when they're taken out, it really offends him more in like an
It's
egocentric way
it's
than it
like
does like he actually cares about them.
it's like how can they defeat me? It's like he's like how can they defeat my children?
Also, again, once these guys are again, he put a lot of like life force into these guys. He birthed them, so he's upset over like that wasted effort.
Especially since they're dying pretty quickly.
Yeah. So,
especially Symbol.
well, yeah.
I mean, Symbol basically just was just born, flew away, then got killed.
Pretty much. All right, let's talk about Roshi and company and what they're up to during this. So Roshi's got a strategic plan. After, of course, we have like the one pervy moment he gets in this this story.
Yeah, but basically after that one moment, basically
He's dialed in after that.
yeah he comes up with an idea to gather the Dragon Balls, try and get one step ahead of Piccolo.
Yeah, it's a strategic plan. We put Krillin's body in a freezing capsule. So again, Jacob, this I hinted about this to you earlier in other when you asked about Bora. So this Bora as well, but this is the more direct kind of addressment of it. And mind you, as you know, over time we get the Dragon Ball Z. They kind of threw this kind of thing out the window, and plus by the end of this arc, we kind of throw it out the window even. But I mean, there was an attempt at the end of this to address like what the deal is, but let's just say long and short of it is the revival process. Traditionally, we can conjure anyone just from from nothing. Like it never really says where they show up when they're revived after this kind of thing. But this is the first time we ever like this and more the first time we revived people, and basically the idea is wherever their bodies were they come back. So the idea is like we don't know how long this is going to take, and they're thinking like we gather the Dragon Balls, essentially a year could pass, especially if we need to like use our wish to defeat Piccolo, and then wait another year to revive him. Krillin's going to be old. He's going to be a skeleton, which will not be ideal.
And I mean, literally see somebody who got buried in this arc.
Yeah, yeah. So with that in mind, this is like the only time in Dragon Ball we really established that, aside from Bora, where it's the only time we show like, yeah, we have to consider like, the degradation of the body, the decomp.
Yep.
So we build Bulma builds freezing capsules to put the body in. Sadly, she has to make more.
Yep.
Wish she keeps Krillin somewhere nice, safe and warm though.
In her underwear drawer.
Yes. Here's the question. I'm going to ask you a ridiculous question, given how morbid an arc this is.
Oh God.
Is it Bulma's drawer or is it Launch's drawer?
I don't know. I mean, they kind
And
of
if it's launches drawer, which launch?
like I heard this one they mentioned it was Bulma's.
Well, yeah, but it's at Roshi's house. You don't think Roshi would?
I
Why
mean,
would?
yeah, but she was staying there at the time.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. She was visiting while while Yamcha was training. So I guess that's yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it's good.
Or were they sharing?
I don't know, Dragon. I don't know.
Well, the point being, Krillin's safe at
I mean,
his house.
For all we know, Launch had her own room,
True. Anyway, okay, back.
and I'm guessing they probably shared their clothes.
Yeah,
The two launches.
yeah. Well, you'd imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, back to the seriousness here. So Roshi, Tien, and Chiaotzu, their plan is to gather the Dragon Balls. Then you basically gather the Dragon Balls and wish the Demon King Piccolo away,
I mean,
knowing they have no prayer of actually defeating him.
the team is actually kind of split. I'm like, do we revive people first, or do we try and revive Piccolo first, or try and kill Piccolo first?
Yeah.
Like,
Or again, Roshi's very much like, look, the smart play, and again, Roshi's not wrong. The smart play is like, look, we defeat Piccolo, we can. It'll be another year, but we'll be able to stop him. If we're lucky, we'll be able to freeze everybody.
yeah.
So,
Tien is desperate to learn the evil containment wave.
yes, he is. Now, I want to mention, so in Tien's arc here, mind you, I think the Roshi filler is the Roshi gathering the Dragon Ball stuff. This was fun. We, I liked a few of the stuff here. Like, for example, we have like the bear. We bring back the bear pirate who tried to eat the turtle way back in episode 2, and he's like an awesome land pirate. He's like a giant tank of a ship that goes through.
And then they try and ask like for like millions of zeni because forget the ball.
Yeah, and just in Roshi gets hilariously, he offers him like a lottery ticket, and, like a beer coupon.
Which they refuse.
Yeah, and so it's they have fun like that, and then here and there, like this, like all the crows coming after Roshi's shiny head. Gags like that. But the important one to take away, this is great in Tien's arc. Again, kind of bridging the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament to here. Tien confronts a martial artist that he crippled in his more brutal years when he was like on the assassin path and basically fighting people. And after he well defeated this guy, basically what he did to Yamcha, he did to this guy. He probably like broke a leg or he beat him very savagely, and
Kept him from his wife.
it kept him from his wife, crippled him. His wife was probably with child at this time, and it was a whole. So this was I really of all the filler in this whole thing, I thought this was the best filler ever in the arc, where it was just this beautiful moment of like Tien, kind of prostrating himself here, where he was basically like begging forgiveness, and he was really showed the error of his ways, and he was really taking the impact of like I really ruined this guy's life, and I feel really bad about that. Right now, he's like this humbling lesson of he's in a position of power now, and we have Roshi like showing up and making sure like the cops don't arrest Tien by accident.
And that part was filler, wasn't in the original manga.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely filler. Yeah.
All right, and it's kind of interesting to see that the police are like familiar with Master Roshi.
Well, yeah, he's a world famous martial artist after all.
I mean, yeah, but it is kind of interesting. Like he's like, don't worry, he's with me.
Yep. So he buys a lot of credibility there, and like one of them's like, yes, like so like a younger guy like throws a gun on. It's like, don't you know who that is?
Yep, it's like that's like Master Roshi, one of the greatest martial artists to ever live.
I love that Roshi was like he was with Chiaotzu on the outside. He kind of knew what was going on there. He knew Tien kind of needed this. So again, still being the consummate master off to the side.
Yeah, I mean Tien still had some lessons to learn.
Yeah. So meanwhile, also while this is going on, Yamcha is like the last line of defense as he heals up after Tien broke his leg.
Yeah, but against was this one Symbol or Tambourine?
Tambourine.
It's against Tambourine. Like
Remember, he's green, Jacob.
yes, my green tambourine. Yep. See, I know.
Anyway, yeah.
It's like, and he barely stands a chance against him.
Goku and Yajirobe kind of saved Yamcha by taking out Symbol though. So Yamcha got really lucky. He almost got killed early.
Yep, it's like basically Piccolo redirected him to find out, like basically like the hunt is off. Find out who killed Symbol.
Yeah. So then we have the rematch between Goku and Tambourine, and this is
when
so,
when Tambourine finds out that the person he killed is alive,
yeah.
he's not very happy, is he?
Yep. Now Goku with a filled belly, he makes quick work of Tambourine. He takes him out pretty straightforward. And this is the first time you really see Goku ever fight angry. And oh boy, he trounces Tambourine. Then he just destroys him with a Kamehameha wave, which again is the first time we've ever seen that.
He straight up kills. I mean, Goku has presumably killed people. I mean, obviously he's killed Grandpa Gohan, but like even like during the Red Ribbon Army, it's heavily implied that he killed quite a few people there. But here we actually get to see him straight up vaporize someone. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a demon, but still.
Yep.
And Yajirobe's upset because like I wanted to eat him. You said I could eat him.
Yep. Sorry, Yajirobe, got carried away.
It's like he could have just used the Kamehameha wave to make him a little extra crispy, but no, he just straight up went for the evaporation route.
Well, he was angry.
Yep. He microwaved him too much.
Yeah. All right, so I guess just again in our kind of our plotting
It's like
here, I think
there's the Kamehameha wave and now the microwave, I guess.
sure.
All right.
Anyway, so again, our Dragon Ball search has been rather economized with the plot, which I was impressed by. Just in terms of usually the first season's a whole season long kind of arc, of trying to gather all the Dragon Balls, and then the Red Ribbon Army, obviously. So this is the third time that we've ever done this, and it's again, it's
fairly expedited. As you said, it happens very quickly.
yes. Okay, so Goku versus the older Demon King Piccolo. So this is a historic encounter. We have this old evil being versus the pure-hearted youth. So again, it's kind of old versus young, the optimism versus just the utter cynicism, and just kind of like a guy who is the. I think the message we may have tried to get across here is that Goku being as strong as he is, if he again like if he didn't heed kind of take away like the lesson that Roshi imparted upon him with the World Martial Arts Tournament. I mentioned this before with Mercenary Tao. It's kind of the idea that without and basically getting cocky and complacent, you could become Mercenary Tao. But the furthest version of that would be again Goku just getting like if Goku took away like I could be defeated. If he had an ego about him, if he basically let it either embitter him or if he just like took it as like let's say he did win. Let's say he did beat Tien. Let's say he did beat Jackie Chan. Let's say he was like addicted to this. I get stronger and I could like it would be like the slippery slope of like if he gets too powerful, what does that mean for the world?
He could become Vegeta.
Well, yeah. So again, kind of a warm up for Vegeta.
Well, basically, he become basically a true Saiyan in that regard.
Yeah, so it's interesting that there's like a bit of again Roshi's. We can never undervalue the importance of the lessons that Roshi imparted upon Goku because they really ended up saving the world.
I mean, like I said, Hill's kind of like I said, Roshi is constantly painted, less so in this arc, but if you're familiar with up to this point, like he's still this pervy old man, but he's the one who knows the most about how to defeat Piccolo.
Oh yeah,
So everybody definitely takes what he's doing here very, very seriously, like especially Tien and Chiaotzu. Like Tien's practically begging him to teach him the evil containment wave so he doesn't die.
yeah. Well, now mind you, Tien doesn't know that killed off the. He doesn't know until it's too late that was a lethal move. Like he's inferred that it was but again, we don't really know until the end there.
Well, yeah, but he still wanted to know it desperately so he could help Master Roshi.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're jumping a little ahead slightly here. Just real quick, we got to talk about Goku's first fight, and then we got to get to Roshi.
Like even here, it is established that Goku is out of his league when it comes to Piccolo.
So this is a so Tao was the first time Goku was ever really outclassed by someone. Not on the side of angels. Jackie Chan doesn't count. Plus, Jackie Chan was by a very narrow margin anyway.
I mean, basically, both times Goku lost the tournaments were almost due to technicalities. I mean, the second one was kind of like he technically did hit the ground first, but it was just like seconds, like within like milliseconds.
That's only because Tien like blew up the ring. So I mean, let's be honest. How fair is that?
Yeah, but I mean, Goku dodged.
Yeah, he dodged. I'm just saying, it's like, come on, taking out the ring. There's no way to avoid a ring out. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, he had the he. It was a risk reward thing. He technically Tien took a risk, and he did end up winning.
Yeah.
So, so, so is it even here? Like I said, it immediately shows that for all his bluster here and anger, Goku is no match for even old Piccolo.
Yeah, so the old Demon King Piccolo, it's a stirring fight. It's the first challenge that Piccolo's had in a while, and I love the element, at least in this first fight, that Piccolo's a little impressed. He's a little impressed. Now, mind you, he's still undervaluing because he's like this child's been giving him trouble and everything. So he's like Piano's not concerned in the least for this fight.
Again, the only time Piccolo even shows like a hint of fear towards Goku is when he is firing up the Kamehameha wave.
Yeah, so like round one is like the warm up that kind of excites Piccolo, and then round two is like Goku takes a brutal beating, but he bites. Awesomely, he bites Demon King Piccolo's like thumb, and he like draws blood, which just pisses him off.
But basically, the first time Piccolo ever drew blood.
Yes, it's kind of like here's another big kind of parallel we could draw here. There's a lot of Thanos in Demon King Piccolo in terms of like this is like all that for a drop of blood. He's pretty unstoppable. So then round three, this is where we have like there's a big moment. We have I love the atmosphere, like the rainfall, and he basically he stops Goku's heart. So Goku kind of dies here, kind of. So Goku's heart stops, so, like the way the way he punched him, and basically it's quite shocking. Thank God. And I now again headcanon. There's all retroactive, mind you. This is not something Toriyama was thinking of, but it was. I like to think it's kind of the Saiyan defense mechanism. Where the idea with the Saiyans, as we're going to learn, is that when a Saiyan is near death, they become stronger. So I'd like to think that as Goku, like against probably did die at least for a moment, and it's kind of like it's also like the Superman, like in Superman, the whole Superman Doomsday, Death of Superman story. Depending on your interpretation, let's just say you look at it, like Superman, his body went into like Kryptonian stasis, so like the heartbeat, the heart stopped, but then over time it like started to beat again, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, but and of course, naturally, after that point, it's like he comes back. It's like it's time to let loose and show you how powerful I truly am.
A little bit, yeah.
So, so that kind of does happen with Goku, and it does even show that, like, okay, if Piccolo's this strong as an old man, as an old demon, we absolutely cannot let him find all the Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good at creating a sense of urgency and like oh crap, we can't let him win.
Yeah, like if he's young, if this is what he's doing as an old man, this is Piccolo at his weakest, and he still can beat Goku. That's not good.
He's basically, like I said, he's stronger. He's like at his weakest, and he's like the strongest being on the planet.
Oh yeah.
I'm emphasis on the words "on the planet."
True. All right, so well, Goku is let's just say Goku. We'll check back in with Goku in a bit. We got to talk about the Roshi stuff here. So
Goku's incapacitated at the moment.
yes. All right, so Roshi has a solid strategy here. The plan is okay. Look, we buried the 5 Dragon Balls that we have. Piccolo's got 2. He's got Goku's ball, and he's got sorry, yeah, he's got the 4-star ball, and he has the Yajirobe ball.
The 1-star, right?
Well, yeah, the 1-star. That's right. Which again, it's kind of ironic that it's always the 1 star ball is always in terms of like the Dragon Balls that we associate with people traditionally. The 4 star ball, Goku because Grandpa Gohan, Pilaf 1 star ball because that's how it all started.
Mhm.
Anyway, so we bury the 5 balls. The idea is we're going to get the 2 that Piccolo has, and we're going to use the fact that he's able to track us. We know he's going to come to us, so that we're kind of making our last stand here. We know he's going to show up,
And
so
the
we're going
thing
to
is,
have him where we basically Roshi sets a trap.
and so it's basically either get him down there and face him with the evil containment wave, or make a break for the other 2 Dragon Balls.
Well, that's the thing. That Roshi, I always read it that Roshi's plan, essentially, as he says it, is true. Is that I think the evil containment wave, he doesn't want to die, so I think it's a very solid plan B that he has in mind, knowing that he doesn't want it to come to that, but he's absolutely prepared for it to come to that. Where it's like plan A is like, okay, we'll distract him and grab the balls, and then we'll make the wish. That's the plan.
But Piccolo immediately knows that the balls are buried.
Yes, and he swallows he swallows the 2 Dragon Balls.
Yep.
Which
But
that's the kink in the plan. Like, oh no.
it's like he thought of everything.
I love how he's such an evil being. He's like, hey, you want him? Take him. And he swallows him.
And Bulma did reestablish here, as she did before, that like they'll be able to track them unless they're ingested.
It's true.
So it's like Toriyama remembered that detail.
He did.
Yeah, that or he just decided like, oh, maybe I should include that. And like maybe
To
he
be
thought of it. He
to
thought
be
of it.
fair, that was the filler.
Yeah, him swallowing the balls.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Well, no, sorry, not him swallowing the balls. I'm saying the whole Bulma, like, making a note of it.
Ah,
Like we cut back to Bulma, like mention, like, oh man, let's like here's a reminder about this fun fact about the Dragon Ball radar.
yeah, it's like unless they've been ingested.
To my knowledge, that's filler. I could be. There's a very slim chance we could like cut back to him very briefly during the manga, but it feels like we need to pad that out a little.
I need to start reading the manga.
Yeah. Anyway, well, again, reading the manga is essentially like it's Dragon Ball Kai. It's essentially what it is if you read the manga.
I know, but I still want to read it. I still want to read it.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I have it. I have the Shonen Jump app. I have access to Dragon Ball and Z. So
we're all very impressed.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Yeah, you're impressed. I'm subscribed to something that only costs like a couple bucks a month.
Yes.
Now, so he swallows the balls, and then basically confronts Master Roshi, who he doesn't recognize.
Well, remember, so Roshi, so again, he basically knows what he has to do now, and Tien's ready to fight alongside him. Roshi uses a knockout spray on him, and we have this really poignant line where he says, like, tell Goku I was proud.
Oh, yeah.
Which, again, breaks my heart.
Like Master Roshi went in fully preparing to die.
So basically, Roshi is completing the circle. He's basically doing what, for Tien, what Mutaito essentially did for him, where I don't think Mutaito knocked out Roshi, but essentially it was a thing of like he sacrificed himself knowing that Roshi would carry on the legacy.
And he did.
So this is Roshi's last stand against the monster that essentially killed his master. It's
and Piccolo does not recognize Roshi at all.
Nope. I love that.
Yeah, go on.
Amidst this, Roshi has like this really cool line that reminds you of like why we love him, where he says like Piccolo's like why Roshi's playing it very stoic, and he's not really he's kind of taking the punishment, knowing what he's gonna. Again, like Roshi's smart enough to know I won't be able to fight him, but I just need to carry out this one move. So he's basically kind of storing his energy. So he's taking some punishment here. But while this is going on, Roshi is kind of throwing Piccolo off so he can make the move by saying, that I'm gonna. It sounds along the lines. I'm gonna beat you because of my exercise tapes.
and he's basically pissing Piccolo off with all that.
Exactly. So he's kind of throwing him off so he'll be distracted long enough so he can use the evil containment wave. So the surprise of the evil containment wave, and Demon King Piccolo is like beside. This is awesome to see Demon King Piccolo. He's like, oh no! You'll see him freak out.
He's like oh. Like he's already like kind of caught up Piccolo's the Goku's bluff earlier. He didn't really believe that Master Roshi was capable of it.
So this is wonderful, and just seeing that Roshi again, to his credit, he put the fear of God into Demon King Piccolo in his last stand here, where
Literally,
he sweeps him up like Demon King Piccolo, seemingly a goner, was going to be defeated at the cost of Master Roshi's life. He's going to be thrown into the electric rice cooker, but
he
the
misses.
stupid no, he did. Hey, to be fair, he didn't miss. Okay, the stupid lid. Remember, the lid came down. That's how he missed. Yeah, that wasn't him
Yeah,
though.
I know, but yeah, but he even says like I missed
One could say missed it by that
that
much.
much. It's like and you're not wrong when you say he put the fear of God into Piccolo.
Just seeing him like catch his breath as this terrifying like Emperor Palpatine esque kind of Dragon Ball foe, just like you know, catching, he's like just these having PTSD right now. Oh god. Then Roshi passes away. But again, I love that in Roshi's last moments using the old telekinetic, the old telepathic kind of thing we set up in the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament. I know we set up in the 21st as well, but we really, we set up that Tien and the Crane School can do it with Roshi as well. He instructs Chiaotzu to steal the wish once the dragon shows up, which is a really good last ditch. Like, the Roshi's thinking about it to the end, man. He was on top of his. He did everything in his power to save the world, which is really admirable.
He basically had three plans to try and stop Piccolo,
He was so clever. Again, he's so perverted, but he's so clever.
but unfortunately,
This leads to one of the most heartbreaking moments in the whole the whole arc.
he Chiaotzu doesn't finish his sentence in time.
He was so close, and then Demon King Piccolo just killed him right on the spot. And poor Tien is like paralyzed at this point, like kind of he's woozy from the gas.
It's a good thing too because Piccolo probably would have killed him if he knew he
Well,
was dead.
exactly. So thankfully, Tien is like Tien's hidden off to the side just enough that he's helpless, but shielded, but he can see all the horrible stuff that's happening. And poor Chiaotzu dies, and just hearing the earth shattering like no from Tien is like, oh, it gotcha.
And then the unthinkable happens.
Yes. So the dragon is summoned and restores King Piccolo's youth. By the way, I still think Piccolo botched the wish. I think he basically said, "Restore my youth," instead of saying, "I want eternal youth."
That might be a dub thing though.
You're right. That might be it. The manga would probably clarify that. However, it is in the manga, I think is how it's supposed to be. So that if you ever do check the manga out, that'll settle how that's supposed to go. Regardless, he gets his youth back, and the dragon's about to leave as he tends to do. And then we were all gobsmacked by this, Jacob, when we first saw this. Jacob, how did you react?
It's like I was. It's like nothing because nothing like this ever really happens again.
No,
Like I mean, not at least not in the same way.
no.
But I was in shock. Like I was like, oh my god, Piccolo just killed the dragons.
Killed the eternal dragon after he got his wish, which is like, oh my god, you killed the namesake of the show, Piccolo. What you maniac? You blew it up.
It's like I mean now
We're killing the Nimbus and now the dragon and all Roshi. What now?
you gotta admit that definitely is a clever move on Piccolo's part. So now he realized that in a year's time somebody could just gather the balls again and wish for him to be dead.
Yep.
So he just
Makes all the sense in the world that he would do this.
so he basically cuts out the middleman and just kills the dragon himself.
So things are hopeless. We don't have a prayer to stop Piccolo, and then thankfully there is another.
Goku's still alive.
So Goku's recovery. So essentially, Yajirobe, he takes Goku to Korin's tower, or we pay off the Bora thing. Bora owes Goku a favor, and also he's friendly with him. Basically, he assists them in climbing the tower. He launches Yajirobe, give him a head start.
What you gotta know is it definitely shows how powerful, how strong Bora is if he's able to throw Yajirobe so high.
Yajirobe is not exactly a lean chicken.
Nope. The Yajirobe's seemingly a very heavy guy,
Oh yeah.
and Bor is able to throw him pretty high.
Yep. So it's
So like Goku's weak, and he's promising Yajirobe like this great meal when he gets up to Korin's tower.
really is the sensu bean, but Yajirobe is less than impressed by it.
Like, but Goku isn't lying when he says like it'll be filling.
It's really funny to see Yajirobe eat so many of these sensu beans, just seem like bloated.
He's like, you'll never go hungry again. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm,
just like the end of Gone with the Wind. I shall never, Goku. I shall never go hungry again. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Yajirobe with the wins.
Da, 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 da.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
We can do that for 4 hours to get the full effect.
Yeah, there you go.
but but yeah, like Yajirobe has been searching for something to keep him full because no matter how much he eats, he's always hungry.
I love that's what motivated him to climb the tower too. Like, I seriously, ordinarily Yajirobe probably wouldn't be able to climb Corn's tower, but the promise of food—that's what
I,
got him up there.
I mean, that's another thing. Like again, Goku and Yajirobe kind of bonded over food.
Yeah, again, there's a little bit of like again, obviously not as close as Goku and Krillin, but again, a little bit of shades like an older brother, little brother kind of dynamic, a little bit.
I mean, like yeah, Goku and Krillin are kind of more like almost like twin brothers
Yeah,
in a
that's
way.
what. Well, twins are just actually brothers of a similar age.
Brothers from another mother.
There you go.
Yajirobe is kind of like an older brother, I guess.
Yeah, like a figure, like an older brother figure.
Yeah.
Like Krillin's face. Okay, Krillin's like pretty much like Goku's actual brother. It might as well be. Again, the whole point is that. Well, I know what you're thinking. I mean, I'm just saying that even comparatively, when we find out Goku's kind of lineage, it's like still the idea that at the end of the day, his real brother
It's
could be
Krillin.
Krillin. Yeah.
It's like as I said, like Goku makes a lot of friends throughout his adventure, but Krillin is basically his best friend.
Without a doubt.
I mean, that remains true even all the way through the other shows.
Yeah.
Krillin always remains very short in stature, but he can always stand tall when he's next to Goku.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
yeah,
we reach the top of Korin's tower. We heal Goku up, and then Goku learns the bad news. He learns that the feeling that he had again, feeling the power level again of Roshi getting killed was in fact Roshi dying, and that really bums Goku out.
it basically makes him want to kill Piccolo even more.
And then we have again kind of this is a nice moment here where it's kind of like an opportunity for change moment. Goku's about to charge off just like you do with Tambourine. It would have been a huge mistake. Korin, as Goku's other master, kind of like tells Goku to stop, and Goku actually heeds this warning. Now, mind you, I think in hindsight it would have been nicer to maybe put, of all the times we have like flashbacks in animes, because we always have to remind the audience what's going on. It's a trope of anime in general. We always have to do a refresher. And we have to kill time, and Dragon Ball is very guilty of this, as much as I love the show.
Yeah.
Of all the times we could have used like a quick flashback, this one feels like, I'll take the subtlety. I know it's hinting at. I'm sure like what it's hinting. It's just the idea that it might have hit the point home just a little bit more. If Goku had a moment where he flashback or heard Roshi saying, Goku, don't go, just to make the emphasize why he's stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can kind of see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Okay, so point being, now here's where we get into the part of the arc I'm not thrilled by.
Yeah.
So again, I love the Demon King Piccolo saga. This has always been the one criticism I still don't like. I'll take it. It's not the end of the world, but it's like I always think it's the solution in getting us to the rematch with Demon King Piccolo. The BS Ultra Divine Water filler. I never liked it. I still don't like it, and it's just still like in the manga. It's pretty much like the device is still there, but we don't draw it out. I'm saying I don't like the device. Period. That's what I'm getting at. I don't like the device. Period. And doing filler for it. I mean, look, the filler is okay, but it's just doubling down on like an idea that I don't like.
It's like so you don't So you don't like the idea of the ultra divine water in the first
I
place.
don't like the idea of the ultra divine water in the first place because it just dilutes the wonderful notion of the sacred water. The whole point of the sacred water is that, one, just saying there was actually a real sacred water that we didn't that we hid all this time. It just felt like, I really feel like Toriyama kind of wrote himself into a corner where, well, I mean, Goku has kind of surpassed all his masters at this point. There's nothing he can really learn, so I need to give him a power up of some kind, and I can't introduce Kami yet. Like, I do wonder in hindsight if Goku might have considered. Sorry, I wonder in hindsight if Toriyama might have considered introducing Kami earlier in the story as a plot point of like Korin's solution was, I'm gonna take you to see Kami. We would have had like the mystery, he would have charged at him and all that, and they would have and Kami would have like unlocked his potential, like just like using either his abilities or doing something or training with Popo. Like an initial training session with Mr. Popo might have given him the edge. I don't know.
All right.
I wonder now. I gotta be honest. I'm just kind of a thought in the moment where I've just I kind of wonder if maybe that might have been a direction to go in. That would have still like told stuff that we do later, but it might have been a way of circumventing the sacred water thing. But then again, we Goku to really earn the right to see Kami, so it's it's good and bad to that idea.
Yeah.
Point being, do you see what I mean? Though the whole sacred water thing just feels like the sacred water was like a very sweet, very like it's the very Space Jam idea of like it's the very simple moral of like the training was inside you the whole time. It's the effort of it's the MacGuffin. The water was a MacGuffin, and everything you did to get to the water is what really trained you the whole time, which is a really clever, very old school martial arts kind of lesson. There being actual ultra divine water that may poison you, that has a track record of killing people, just it
It
just
does.
feels.
It does kind of seem like okay. I need something that can power Goku up. I know water.
It just feels we already did that though. you know,
Yeah.
that's what bothers just the fact that we are doubling down on the sacred water, but in doing so we make it less, make the original one less than. I don't like that.
I mean, I think the original one still does kind of stand in a vacuum, but then it does kind of like core into like he didn't actually want to do that unless it was like this extreme circumstance, regarding Piccolo.
I
I mean,
mean,
I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a total Deus Ex Machina, but
look, I think the only way that it kind of works and just accepting it for what it is that Corin can see, through little pictures of, little jars of water. Corin can see what's going on. Corin maybe made the astute observation that, okay, Goku just needs the placebo of. Well, obviously he doesn't need the placebo because Goku takes away. It's the Kung Fu Panda, like you're the secret ingredient the whole time thing.
hmm.
They were basically, Goku. He doesn't need a power up to defeat Mercenary Tao because he has the ability to do so. I mean, after and I expected this to take like many years, like 300 years, but
Hmm.
you know,
Yep.
well, sorry, not 300. Like, I expect this to take like 3 years, but
But either way, Goku did it in less time than that.
you remember if it was 330 or 300 years for Roshi on the
I think
Coins Tower?
I thought it was like I don't think it was 300 because
Yeah,
he
because
used
Goku, yeah, because Roshi is 300 years old.
yeah, I think it is 30. It is either 3 or 30.
I think it's 30 because 30 is like the year we associate with the World Martial Arts Tournament. I think it was 30,
I mean, yeah, I think so.
maybe. Anyway, okay. Point being, we have the Ultra Divine Waters thing, and it's so I think really the main logic I can take away from the Ultra Divine Water is that really what it is to unlock Goku's potential, which we do all the time in Dragon Ball Z. We unlock people's potential, usually through Namekian means, but we do that. And I think basically like this poison yet again, maybe like it almost killed him yet again, which unlocked the Saiyan DNA, which made him stronger. Who knows?
Yep. So at this point, sometimes I'm not even sure if Toriyama knew.
Exactly.
I
Look,
mean,
he wrote himself into a corner. He didn't know he just needed something. He was desperate for anything.
it's like I mean, he's still a good writer. I'm not going to. I'm
Yeah,
not.
no, he's great.
Yeah, but even the best writers write themselves into corners sometimes.
It happens to the
Yeah.
best of them, like Toriyama.
Yep.
All right, so also the Nimbus. We have the Korin. This is a nice little like facet that we've added here. The idea that
Korn was the one who gave Master Roshi the original Nimbus.
exactly,
It was that was an old model.
yeah,
So it's like basically he has this huge Nimbus where you can like choose a part of it and have to be his new mode of transportation.
which is cool. Again, not sure if it jives with the original Nimbus and how it can reconstitute itself, but it's cool. Like we replaced it, and this one does not get destroyed since, so that's good.
Yeah, like I never knew that there were two Nimbuses. Nimbi, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
As while this is going on, Demon King Piccolo, he's taken over the world on Piccolo Day, May 13th.
born May 9th in the original Japanese version.
Don't ruin this for me. May 13th.
I know. I know. I'm just saying because you know why they chose May 9th in the original Japanese, right?
Why?
Because the name, because when you say the words like May 9 in Japanese, it sounds like Goku.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah. So that's why May, that if you notice some like social media and stuff, that's why they celebrate Goku Day.
It's very serendipitous we're finally getting to Piccolo in May.
Yep, May 13th. I was like, I remember the thing is like I was actually watching that episode on May 13th when I messaged Drag. Like, hey, it's Piccolo Day.
How serendipitous.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, May 13th, Piccolo Day. I'm like, oh my god, it's Piccolo Day.
I was kicking myself. I forgot about the whole that he actually announced the day for it, and that there was like an actual holiday based on that factor.
It was like if we had known sooner, we probably would have done it on that date.
Yeah, yeah, because I was at a leisurely pace. Things are going well. It's like, oh man, if we only knew.
It's like, and the thing is, that's like the only like canon date we ever hear within the series too.
Yeah. Well, at least we got it within the month. Okay, at least it's in the same month.
Serendipity, yeah.
Anyway,
Serendipitously, yeah. But
so
yeah,
so with Piccolo Day, we have the whole like the twisted lottery idea that he's like it was like I think it's like 12 cities or 20. Do you remember how many cities?
it was like 30 or something cities, I think. But like it's like happy belated Piccolo Day, everyone.
Yeah, so like on an annual basis, he'll select a town
Like just think, if you're lucky, you may survive another 40 years.
Yep.
Or 20 years or something like that.
I think it was like 12 or 24. I don't know which.
24 years, yeah. But either way, he's like twisting it. It's like basically getting people to live in fear.
And the idea too is like if you win, that basically means you get to throw a parade and celebration, and at the end of the celebration, he's going to destroy your city.
Or he's just going to destroy you anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. So he's oh god, you can tell like Chris. So Chris Sabat is doing an excellent job. Let's not bury the lead. Sabat kills it as Demon King Piccolo.
It's like he's very very evil. Like
he's so merry in his villainy.
It's like I said, as much as people enjoy a villain with as like reasons for doing what they do. Sometimes it's just nice to have a straight up evil villain for the sake of being evil.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think like I always bring this up like Jafar, for example, from Aladdin. Like he's evil, he knows he's evil, and he enjoys every second of it.
There's a lot of that. There's a little bit of Jafar here with Demon King Piccolo too, with the whole like he's making puns like you said we were having a falling out, Pilaf.
and even like making a wish.
Yep.
So it's like so you gotta and just because like they're evil doesn't just because they're evil and they know they're evil doesn't mean they're poorly written villains.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just I know that's kind of aside from the point, but like I said, sometimes you just need those villains who are evil and love it.
So a couple of kind of fun filler elements that we had during all the a lot of it's just like okay, King Piccolo's like laying waste and everything. We have Suno and Ader come back,
which was nice to see them return.
Yeah, it's Suno's got a bit of a fan base. People like Suno.
Like I can see why she's adorable.
Yeah. So the idea she was all the towns from across the land. They basically are
Like
supposed to visit the king and give him flowers, and it would have
yeah,
been a nice.
like all the girls from the villages are giving him flowers.
Yeah, yeah. So Ader, I live later on, like during the chaos, like Ader's like saving kids in the hospital. It's like, yeah,
I think Ader, like, he's learned that fighting can actually be used for good.
yeah,
Because remember, he was like hesitant to fight anybody in the when he was first activated, but now he's like thanks to Goku, he's learned that if he's defending people, he's like it's one of the tenets of martial arts, defense.
yeah. Like Demon King Piccolo basically legalizes crime, and he encourages all like evil manners of evil all across the land. So, like all the prisoners and everyone's there, they're causing trouble.
So Ader's there to do some basically vigilante street justice,
Little bit, little bit.
which
So also, let's talk about King Furry.
I did kind of like King Furry. Like it is kind of interesting that the president of the is the dog.
Yeah, so essentially, again, we can't say president, but we went with king. But essentially, if you
Yeah.
look at him, he's very much Teddy Roosevelt as a dog. It's essentially what he is.
Yep.
Which I love, by the way. Of all the presidents we could have modeled him after, Teddy Roosevelt's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything. Honestly, of all the, I don't think he's got real. Like, I don't think Roosevelt's got skeletons in his claws. I think he's pretty clean cut, pretty simple.
I mean, Roosevelt was the guy who got shot during a speech and continued his speech.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
awesome.
It's like the teddy bears are named after him.
Yeah,
He was a well known boxer.
I mean, PETA probably hates him, but who cares?
Like he was a well known pugilist.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a man's man.
what I'm saying, Roosevelt's cool.
Yeah, I'm not denying it, Dragon. He was like he was the bomb.
Well, regardless, but existing.
There's a reason why like he's on Mount Rushmore. I mean, like all the other presidents are like from the 17 or 1800s. He's the only one from the 1900s.
Literally, it's the greatest hits of presidents on Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, Roosevelt's the most recent one,
Yep, there you go.
and he deserves it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so existing parallels or not, I really like King Fur because he seemed to be actually a good leader. He did care about people, and like his like helping nations. Like before all the chaos breaks down, he's not like a cheesy politician or anything. He's like a sleazy guy. He's not like a selfish or an ego. Like he's helping the starving people of a country. Basically, it's not it's not Nam's people, but it's essentially he's helping some villages having like a crop related issue. It's just he's being very nice is my point. And then during all the chaos, it reminds me a lot. And again, we know for a fact there's a lot of Superman parallels within Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball, especially Dragon Ball Z. But with that, it reminds me of the bit from Superman 2 where the president, General Zod invades the White House and the president, E.G. Marshall playing the president, stands up to him. And this whole, I don't know, it's a bit where like, the president's like a man of honor dealing with like this superpowered despot. So it kind of reminded me a little bit of that, and just kind of what he's dealing with. And later on, King Fur is very nice to Goku, and he's like, "Oh, so it's such a nice young man." He's just trying to give Goku his proper thanks, awards him like a medal that I'll never get.
Yeah.
But it's just King Fur. Again, these are the filler aspects of that were kind of nice. They worked. Okay. Meanwhile, let's see. Tien. So Tien, impressively, he mastered the evil containment wave after seeing it used in person one time.
He's basically pulled a Goku there.
Well, yeah, it also makes sense that Tien, with his third eye, can really learn techniques fast. I mean, he learned the Kamehameha wave in the span of one tournament, so he's a quick study.
Yeah, and also it didn't kill him or anything like that either.
Yep,
which is good.
Now, mind you, he tested it out like beforehand. It wasn't like actually sending. He wasn't sealing someone away. If he sealed someone away, then he probably would have died.
Which is, I don't. Was that actually like one of the requirements for it? Does that actually
it is,
or is it just more like an implication?
Well, it's the jury's kind of out because, well, let me put it to you this way:
everyone who's used it successfully has died, or has died basically.
Well, they've died, but then again, think about it. The two people that have done that are men of advancing years when they did that. And mind you, there's a bit of a retcon. In Dragon Ball Super, which again I don't like to count towards this stuff, but Roshi's using the evil containment wave left and right in that,
Huh.
which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well,
So it stands the reason that maybe like Roshi has never in practice that, and like God knows, like if basically it stands to reason that if you want to factor in Super, Tien might have actually found a way around that. Maybe if measured enough, you could avoid death, but it's a big drain all the same. The point being, like you're using a lot, yeah.
what I'm trying to ask is like, are the enemies that he uses it on there as strong as Piccolo is here?
I mean, they're all knights the tournament of power. None of those guys are really slouches. And you got to remember Piccolo, like, Piccolo Jr., who's essentially as powerful as Demon King Piccolo, is in that tournament. So, I mean, I don't know, it stands to reason that I think they're all probably on a similar level, but yeah, I'd have to double check who he uses it against to know for sure. Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's a gag in that where he traps by accident, he traps Vegeta in the jar. So technically, yeah, I mean, absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. I would like to say the only way that works logically is that Roshi just kind of took a page out of Tien's book, and he may have it would stand the reason that he found a way of regulating it, and with practice he was able to like not die using it. But the point being, it's a big drain, and maybe it was just like the fact that it was like untested, and it was over time, maybe. So it sounds like Tien would have died had he used it. Plus, it would have been the first time he like full on used it. Like they used the energy to like combat like a powerful foe and put him in the jar. I think that's like measuring your energy against their energy and dipping the life force energy. I think that's how it works.
I mean,
Sorry, it's a long, convoluted explanation, but yes.
that, I mean, that does make sense, and it's nice to see that it's not doesn't discriminate against just only demons.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what you prefer to Vegeta as.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like evil containment wave. So I don't know if it literally has to be evil that you're sealing away, or if it's just just
Well,
like I think stealing away anything.
Well, Goku was. I mean, Vegeta wasn't exactly evil at that point.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So I don't. Plus, the people he was fighting were like evil.
Yeah, but yeah, if I recall correctly, at that point, Vegeta would not be evil. At that point, at least not explicitly. He's still kind of a jerk, but like more of a jerk with a heart of gold, but not evil.
Anyway.
But Tien does actually hold up quite well against King Piccolo.
Tien's got a good plan.
Where basically wear down Piccolo.
Well, no. He's not going to wear down Piccolo. He basically needs to get close enough to Piccolo to use the evil containment wave. That's his plan. Yeah. He knows he doesn't have a chance against him, especially now that he's been made youthful and stronger than ever. All he needs to do is just get close enough to Piccolo to use the throw out the capsule and pull off the technique. The problem
is that Piccolo creates Drum, a new basically new fighter, and Tien is worried about wasting his energy.
Exactly. So he tries to make quick work of Drum, but it's not going well. He's very much in it with Drum. And this is again classic DBZ kind of thing here, where it's a stall, it's a stalling Goku plot line where is Goku going to get there in time, and he's saving the Ox King and Chi Chi.
Which it was nice to see Ox King and Chi Chi again.
I love Chi Chi like saying like asking, the Goku's gonna stop him, don't you think so? Don't you think so, Daddy? Or like initially asking like Dad, you're gonna stop Demon King Piccolo, aren't you? It's like, I'm sorry, Chi Chi. What about Goku? Oh no, I don't think so, honey.
It's like that's obviously just her crush talking.
Yeah.
It's like, but even then when it comes to her dad, she's like, can't you beat him, Daddy? Like, it's like, no, he's too strong even for the Ox King.
Oh yeah.
It's like, but she does manage to beat they do manage to beat all those soldiers that come after her, after them.
Yep.
But yeah, but clearly, like they're like Chi Chi like thinking Goku could win is clearly her crush talking.
Yeah.
and it was cute.
I think deep down she knew, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knew Goku could beat him.
Well, yeah, it's like she knows who he is.
Yeah.
again, Goku's come a long way from patting people to find out what they really are.
Yep.
he's a better judge now.
Yep.
Come on, okay. So, spoiler alert: Goku makes it in time.
That he does. And when he shows up, it's an epic rematch. Goku takes out Drum with one kick.
Wait, yeah, like which is almost imperceptible to the naked eye.
Yep. And then he begins the fight with the rematch with Demon King Piccolo, and he outclasses him. It's really impressive. And Goku, importantly, he's fighting without anger, which is driving Demon King Piccolo crazy.
because Piccolo knew the entire time that what he's done is drive Goku to the brink of basically madness and anger. But now Goku's just not even breaking a sweat or being angry.
And he's kind of meeting Piccolo's ego with some kind of fun kind of cockiness here, where it's like, I want to fight you at full strength. Which Tien's like, are you nuts?
It's like when Goku kept saying he's not using his full strength. That's Piccolo's just not very happy.
So then they go to full strength, and it's a pretty even match for a while there. But again, it's not the fact that it's the fact that Goku keeps bouncing back after everything that Piccolo throws at him, which is driving him nuts, which is kind of hilarious. Again, so a little bit of comedy within our within our but again, it's like more like fist pumping, like cheering as the audience. It's very cathartic, like, yeah, Goku, show him who's boss. And he keeps coming back, like he throws the explosive wave at him, which essentially is like the equivalent of like dropping atom bombs.
Yep. Basically, we do see the entire city get destroyed.
And Goku he just comes out, he brushes it off, and he's just Piccolo is like he's getting a little worried, and in this moment he cheats. He feels he feels like it's a blow by blow. They're measuring each other blow by blow, but again he keeps coming back. So Piccolo he makes a move of desperation. He cheats by threatening to crush Tien's head.
Yep.
And no, then he throws out. I love this bit too, where Goku is like he's kind of taking some punishment for Tien's benefit. And Tien's like, no, Goku, just take him out. And then Goku says, don't worry, Tien. For a moment, he's like, Tien, I can't do this. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll wish you back with the Dragon Balls. And then Piccolo. I love how freaked that Piccolo gets. Oh God, he's actually gonna do it. But then he drops like I killed the dragon. And Goku gets really upset here because it means there's no way to bring back Krillin now, and he's very upset.
So again, that means he has to be even more careful and not hurt Tien along the way too.
Yep. So then it's always this memorable sadistic moment from the fight where Piccolo is just taking away each of Goku's limbs and just like taunting him, and like again kind of like the Emperor he's from Star Wars. He's kind of trying to tempt him to his side at least for a moment.
Yeah, it's like Goku would ever join Piccolo's side.
Yeah, he's like saying we're not so different, you and I, literally.
Like, yeah, it's like totally the same. One's a giant green evil demon bent on destroying everything. The other is a kind-hearted fighter who's just trying to get stronger.
Yep. Well, again, to a point.
Yeah.
To a point, I think Piccolo is making the point of like, if you get strong enough, you could, kind of reach my heights. And it's this thing of like, it's the cautionary tale of Goku's, potential could bear in the future.
Yep.
Anyway.
So the fight is really, really intense.
So basically, he's he's holding Tien's head, and I love how precarious. Basically, the image we had before us here, folks, where Piccolo looks pretty menacing and ticked off, and he's just like holding Tien by one giant hand, and poor Tien is like depleted of energy, and I love that what we kind of got.
Well, because he used the evil containment wave, but successfully used it on Piccolo, but Drum got in the way.
Yeah, which was great, by the way, is when he was able to actually use the evil containment wave, which just completely threw him through a shock. But thank goodness Piccolo destroyed that rice cooker. Otherwise, Tien might have been a goner.
Yep.
Anyways,
one of the coolest things in this fight, though, is then is when Goku uses the Kamehameha wave and then redirects it around Piccolo's back,
Yeah, he curves the Kamehameha wave.
which was awesome.
So many great moments from this. By the way, I meant to mention this earlier.
Yeah.
This is a fight that's so cool. It has been immortalized in statues.
Really?
Like little maquette statues. I saw my comic shop. You can find it on Amazon. It's like this little. It's almost like bookends. Like, they're not bookends, but essentially they're like it's a 2-part statue where you have one side's Goku and one side's Piccolo. The only reason I haven't bought this is because deep down I prefer the finisher move. That's if I'm gonna buy a statue, it would be that finisher move.
You mean the one at the end of this fight?
Yes, the one at the end of this fight. Yes, which they have made, but not like. I'm so tempted to get the 2-part statue, but I gotta be careful. I can't really buy. It was the thing of it's always that stymieing thing of they now make the stuff I would have killed for as a kid with Dragon Ball. Or as a I have like I bought this Goku figure, but that's pretty much like Kid Goku, and that's pretty much all I've committed myself to getting. Because otherwise, I'd be too tempted to get all the stuff I wanted as a kid.
It's like that's the life of a collector, right, Dragon?
That's you got to pick and choose. Like again, I have a weakness for Batman the animated series. Those stuff I have to get instinctively because those are the toys I absolutely would have drooled for as a kid. I have to get those.
Yeah, but say I had to choose like Dragon Ball, Batman.
Well, I gotta pick Batman easily. That's what I'm saying. I have one Dragon Ball like figure that's essentially that's the wish fulfillment that I have. Otherwise, I just like have to appreciate all and vicariously get them for my friends who like Dragon Ball.
I don't have any Dragon Ball merch.
Yeah, I mean, I can point. I know some great merch that you could get.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You're more into that kind of stuff.
Like the item you should get.
Yeah.
You got to get the Dragon Radar. They made a functional Dragon Radar that's so cool.
That is pretty neatly.
That's the one.
I'm going to a convention. We're going to a convention in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like, and they have these like pretty cool prints. I've shown you some of the prints that I've gotten, but not these like, not necessarily prints, but these giant like acrylic things. And I don't even. That's I've shown you them, right? Like the black, they're kind of paintings, but they're on these like they like bendable material kind of thing. I forget their name.
Are they holographic?
Not holographic, but they're painted.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, but they do have like Dragon Ball ones of that.
Okay.
Like they even had like a pretty neat looking Bulma one that I saw Monica Rial sign.
I have this real quick, and we gotta get back to the thing. I have this lenticular print that it's basically like generations of Dragon Ball, which you have like the ladies of Dragon Ball, so you have Bulma, but you have like the multiple generate. I think it's like it kind of shifts. So yeah, there's Bulma, Videl, and I think it's Bulma. It's either Bulma, Videl, and Chi Chi, or it's Bulma, Videl, and Android 18. I think it's Chi Chi. I'm not sure. Anyway, so the point is like every which way you turn, you have like one of the characters in the center, and then you have like on the sides, you have them through the different eras of Dragon Ball.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it's Chi Chi, just given that we would have a few eras of her versus 18, but I don't know.
Yeah, we only ever see 18 one way.
Well, I mean, no, there's Z and there's GT and then Super, so there's kind of 3 at least, but
All right, I guess.
Anyway, semantics aside, the point being, epic rematch that occurs here. Many memorable moments within the fight, like curving the Kamehameha wave, and again, like Piccolo just cruelly, like he's basically kind of frying and kind of breaking each limb on Goku. Like he uses like I think he uses like a beam, and then in the Kakarot DLC, like he uses a beam to take out each limb. But I think he uses a beam, and he mainly uses he takes a rock and he uses he just blows it like so fast like into his breaking his his arms or his shins and stuff like that.
So yeah, it looks really painful.
Absolutely, and Goku just kind of has to take it, and Piccolo's just like taunting him and saying, "Oh, you gotta toughen up." Just such a righteous prick that Demon King Piccolo. So anyway, so he takes each limb from Goku. He finally, by the way, and the thing that also kind of tuckered Tien out, put him in the position that he's in. Goku initially, when he had like a limb taken out, he's using the power pole and everything, which is really cool. Tien at one point in the fight, he saved Goku. Like he kind of like he lifted him using his telekinesis,
which is pretty neat.
which was very nice. And that was the
Yeah.
last again. That was the last thing that Goku was able to do. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
the last thing that Tien was able to do for Goku before becoming helpless.
Yeah.
Anyway, so finally, he lets go of Tien, about to do like the finishing move to kill Goku, and then Goku, King Piccolo, completely forgot that Goku's still got one arm.
Like he's able to do the Kamehameha wave.
Yep, we do the one-armed Kamehameha wave, which is, and again, there's a little bit of a foreshadow. Young age, Goku does the one-armed Kamehameha wave, and years later, someone else might use that move. Just a little foreshadow there.
Like, and so what happens is what's become another iconic moment in the series.
Yeah.
It's like Goku rockets his way up to the Kamehameha wave, surprising Piccolo.
Technically, a little distinction.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's blue and it's powered. It looks exactly like Kamehameha wave. You'll notice, though, he doesn't say, Kamehameha. He basically just kind of does it because it's just the intensity of the situation. It's like one of the first times he ever does Kamehameha wave without saying it.
Yeah. So
Might be the only time, honestly, but
he readies his fist. Piccolo is surprised, and then we see the unthinkable. Goku punches his way through King Piccolo.
now this punch is I kind of call it like the great. I call it the grade 8 punch, but one could, I think that the proper, now mind you, I don't think it's actually labeled, but you could call it like the Uzaru punch, however you want to.
Uzaru, yeah. I
Yeah,
guess.
the Uzaru, again, I think probably the catchier name would be the Uzaru punch.
I mean,
yeah,
Uzaru does mean kind of mean big ape or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the point being the grade 8 punch, the Uzaru punch is just this perfect image, which, by the way, that Kakarot game, it shows you in cinematics this moment where you get to basically you punch through and you have like the little like in the light of the Kamehameha wave, you have like over him again the internal Saiyan strength that we didn't know was Saiyan yet, but it's just the Saiyan like icon of like his untapped potential unleashed of just of the great ape like, roaring the monster within Goku as he punches through Demon King Piccolo's chest, creating this again because he's like again because of the scale that we saw because he's so big, it's a perfect circle of Goku just going right through his chest with a punch.
He's like, yeah, not just punching like and knocking him away, and like no, literally punching his way straight through Piccolo's body.
It's like the coolest thing ever in Goku after everything he's put into this fight. I did it. I won.
And you think that's it for Piccolo, but then
Wrong.
with the last of his strength, he musters one final egg.
Yep, he burps the most.
Like he tells it to carry on his revenge and avenge him. King Piccolo knows he's basically dead, so he tells this new egg to avenge him and kill everyone who was involved.
He basically pulls he pulls an evil Krypton.
Yes.
Basically, he spits out the egg at a high speed like the ship, and then he blows up like the planet.
Yep. Meanwhile, Goku slowly falls to the ground.
Now we have Yajirobe doing a Hulk Iron Man catch from the Avengers, which is really cool.
Yep. Goku barely survived, but he managed to do the unthinkable. He defeated Demon King Piccolo,
Fulfilling Baba's prediction.
Becoming a great hero in his time.
Yep.
I hope we see more of Baba.
You will.
Good.
So, well, I mean, you're about to see her just about a minute, but yeah.
I know, but I meant after this arc.
Well, no, after this, you'll see her again. So, Anyways, the point being, so our ending is so again, we really agonized over where to where to cap this off, folks. So essentially, the main story ends with kind of a like the narrator kind of posing, how do we fix this? Where Yajirobe takes him off, they heal up, and Tien like make sure you take care of him, and tells Goku how he's been inspired by him and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have our epilogue, and we wanted to end this on a note of like everything's going to be you have to bring back we have to bring back everyone. So we kind of wanted to go into how Goku facilitated bringing everyone back. So Goku visits Korin for food and a solution. So basically, he is told to well, Goku, why don't you use your power pole? And you can Goku. I think you've earned the right to meet Kami. All you need is your power pole. And he's realized, oh God, my power pole, where is it? And he's like searching through the rubble of present, like like the king's trying to thank him. He doesn't give a crap because he's trying to revive everyone.
It is kind of a nice way to add some levity after the fight.
Oh yeah. So again, it's really nice that he turns down the press and the medals and all that because he cares about his friends more.
Even Bulma, who has the opportunity to like say like who's the person who saved the world, and she just like and basically just doesn't answer.
Yeah, because she knows better. She knows he doesn't need the praise.
She knows Goku doesn't not needs it, but he doesn't want it. Like
Oolong, on the other hand,
he pretends to be Goku.
trying to get in with the Chicky babes.
Yep, and he gets punished for it.
As he should. Like it's really the Oolong. Don't drag Goku's name through the mud like that. Come on.
Yeah, but I think they found out it wasn't really Goku.
I would hope so. I mean, seeing the kid turn into a pig, I think they would. I would hope they,
Yeah, but yeah, Bulma. It is nice that Bulma's known him for so long that she knows that he wouldn't want all the attention or glory. He did it because he didn't do it for that. He did it for his friends.
I love the fact that launch. I love the fact that launch used the power poles like a broom. Oh, by the way, when I was rewatching this, I noticed the mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, so when Goku he goes off from meeting with King Furry to meet Force Teller Baba to kind of find out what the power pole is, or either that or like after he sees Baba. I think it's after. It's either before or after he sees Baba when he's heading to Kame House. You'll notice they use stock footage of Goku on the Nimbus because he's holding he has the power pole. So it's like, wait, Goku, what's in your hand?
Yeah, they didn't really think that through, did they?
Yeah. Well, animation costs money, Jacob.
Well, yeah, I know, Dragon.
Anyway, so point being, Goku's got the power pole. He puts it on the top of Korin's tower, which leads him to Kame's Lookout, which is the introduction of Kame's Lookout for Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, he's obviously rising for a very, very, very long time.
Yes.
And what I said earlier when I said Goku, like said Piccolo is the strongest thing on planet Earth. There are things even stronger than him above planet Earth.
This always felt kind of like a Loki, kind of like a Loki or post Endgame kind of thing here, where it's like, okay, after we've done the Infinity Stones, like we go to the TVA and the Infinity Stones are paperweights. That's kind of what this feels like.
Kinda, yeah.
Or meet Mr. Popo.
Yep. Yeah.
A character people have opinions on, but we're not going to get into those.
Even though he's based on Japanese mythological creature.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, Mr. Pope is more, again, he looks like a genie. He looks more kind of like Arabian genie than anything else. That's kind of what the operative, idea is, but,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he looks cool in Otherworld. That's what I looked at as a kid. That's pretty much it, It's like, I hated, like, one of the versions of Kai, I don't know which one, one of the versions of Kai, I think, it was either Kai or, like, when it was Kai aired on, like, Nicktoons or, like, one of the stations. We colored him blue, which is such a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think they fixed that on the DVD release. I don't know if they did or not, but
So he meets Mr. Popo, who Goku basically refuses his. Basically, he has to prove that Master Korin allowed him in. Shows him the bell.
Yep, shows him the bell the Corn gave him.
And Basically, Goku immediately gets schooled by Popo.
But again, it's very lighthearted. I think Popo sees, oh, he's a nice young man. Where basically Goku is, he doesn't have an ego. He's again, he is pure of heart, so he's earned the right to be
But
here, and he does have a lot to learn.
it's like he's one. He does kind of wonder if like Master Corn was really right about sending him there, right?
Popo to Mikami, and I forgot about this. And I really love how we did this here. Where I forgot that Kami didn't make him go through all that through the bell thing necessarily before he introduced him. So the fact that Kami he sees the importance of the situation, he's kind of surmised things, and he comes out. And of course, this is always a great moment. I believe it's also in the manga too. It's this fantastic moment where Goku meets Kami, and Korin play a little prank on Goku here.
Where it's like he's like, well, he hasn't met him, but he's seen him before.
So Korin's just kind of having a laugh, and I love that Kami has Kami and Korin kind of are old pals. You get a sense of he kind of knows him, so he figures that Korin didn't tell you, did he? Where Goku instantly attacks Kami because Kami, get this, looks exactly like Demon King Piccolo, the
Yep.
older one.
He thinks that Piccolo's still alive.
Yes, which I mean, kind of.
It's like so rightfully Goku does kind of attack Piccolo. I mean, attack Kami.
So then we get Kami's backstory, which, long story short, is that he was Piccolo. Exactly. Kami essentially is. He started as Piccolo. He worked. He was an apprentice to the former Guardian of the Earth. He wanted the position, but he wasn't pure enough for it. The Guardian of the Earth kind of saw there was a little darkness in him, and basically what he did is he expelled the evil from his body.
And that became Piccolo.
Yeah, and the idea being that the theme of Dragon Ball is going just with the Goku Master Roshi is that the theme of Dragon Ball is its power for the sake of self improvement, not ego or self importance. Now, this is not saying that Kami was he had designs or anything, but the fact that Kami, despite essentially being Namekian slash green in this at this point, he did have a self importance up to him in terms of he had a destiny. He knew he was right for this. He had an ambition about him. He had he wanted. Essentially he was going after the All Might. So Kami translated loosely means God.
Yep.
So essentially he wanted to be God, which is the most power you could have in the universe. So he wanted power, and it was kind of in earning the power. He kind of with the biblical parallels, basically you have God, you have essentially Lucifer. So it's kind of then being joined at the hip. There's very much a connection there. So he
Expelled.
so Kami kind of accidentally created the greatest evil on Earth, and but I don't know if instantly in that moment or not. This is reading between the lines, and it feels like the Guardians probably would have promoted Kami so he could take responsibility for this. I don't know.
And basically he does regret what he's done. Like he regrets creating Piccolo.
The voice acting's again, it's Chris Sabat, man. Again, the fact that he voices essentially both versions of Piccolo here, and soon a third version. But the fact is, he's voicing all these versions of a Piccolo. And with Kami, again, Kami is night and day. Kami is this very sweet, just very kind of wistful, kind of he's this very just kind of thoughtful, wise, humanitarian versus the evil, demonic King Piccolo.
Yeah.
So that's honestly the way I read it. I read it that Kami is basically had Piccolo accepted his punishment, have aged gracefully. Like had he learned something, he would have been Kami. Anyway, so he almost we had broached the subject of the dragon. So he almost let the dragon stay dead because we learned that Kami created the eternal dragon, and the reason he did was to instill hope in the world. It'd be like a reward for humanity. You find inspire them to kind of band together or whatnot. They would find the balls.
But instead it became people using them for their power.
Again, the power theme.
And that's why and the thing is he could have revived the dragon at any time, but chose not to until Goku showed up.
which is really nice. The fact that Goku being of pure heart is really, again, Goku has always earned our respect, like as audience members. We've always rooted for this kid, and he really does sell you on the idea of there being good in the world and humanity. And I mean, I buy it, don't you? Do you not? Do you buy it?
I do.
Yeah, you buy that. He would have a chance of like essentially God smiling upon him in a sense.
In
In a sense.
a sense, yeah.
I know it's not one for one. God doesn't look this cool. I get it.
But
He
it,
looks cool in his own way, I'm sure, but he's not green.
so Kami's kindness, in his kindness, he like basically it looks like putting together like one of those like model toys.
Yes, which by the way, you can actually put this in like a little. I've seen this like in vending machines at Comic Cons, where basically they have like these little sets of like little Dragon Ball figurines, and one of them is like the dragon under the glass.
It's like one of those like gotcha things.
I I think so, yeah.
All right.
Like the set of like the little guys in the little rectangular boxes. So yeah, it's
It's
like
like
one of
like the
those.
like the little pods.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think those are like gotchas. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that they're like at every convention.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm saying they I think if you wanted to get them outside of those, they would come in a little box. Be right though, they would at a convention they put them in little egg gotcha things. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Mr. Pope he had Mr. Popo put the reassembled dragon together.
Yeah.
And then, fortunately, they resummoned the dragon. Because all the balls were gathered at Kame House.
Yep. So the dragon is summoned. They wish everyone that Demon King Piccolo killed to come back to life. Which we had a logic to do it again, but there was a throwaway line. Was not we kind of saw it for a brief bit that we learned from Corin, I think, that the spirits of the people. I forget what the exact like logic was. But I think the idea is that the people who had their bodies completely atomized. They had like their souls were like in a purgatory of some sort, right?
Yep.
I mean, we saw like them all floating or something. Like Goku's upset that they're even in death, like they're not going to get any rest. Which it was an idea I wasn't crazy. I don't want to overthink the death in Dragon Ball because we're just going to bring them back. We don't want to overthink like what they're going through. Like again, I appreciate that we addressed like okay the year revival thing. I think the logic should have been original dragon. You want to preserve the body. New and improved dragon because we do kind of revamp the dragon now and again throughout the show. Whenever we revamp the dragon, we improve the bugs, which were like okay, so we can revive people just kind of completely. You don't have to worry about like the body situation.
I mean, I think it's just more like, okay, these people have been vaporized, but I want them to come back somehow.
Yeah.
So,
So however you want to overthink it.
and then like some people like maybe there's like also a time limit, that kind of thing.
That's what I mean. So with the whole like time limit for revival, and the fact is they don't have a body, they don't have a shell. So I don't know. The point being, it's best not to overthink it. The point being, we have a new dragon, and the dragon probably is able to revive people a lot more easily.
It's like very well, or he was just feeling generous.
Well, yeah, Murakami made some exceptions too. Or, for example, they didn't have to wait a whole year ordinarily, which would be the case. But in Goku's, to help Goku out and also sweeten the deal for the arrangement that he's going to make. Okay, look, I'm going to revive your friends here, but remember, 3 years. You have to stay here at the lookout and train under me for 3 years, and you'll be reunited with your friends and everything at the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament.
Yep.
The purpose being he's going to fight Demon King Piccolo Jr.
Like, yep, we see this little green pickle, little green demon walking around causing trouble.
And again, we have like a Superman parody where like farmers find him at first, and they just he emerges from the egg, and then he's just going around causing trouble and killing people.
And it's too bad. It's too bad he was just immediately basically he didn't even really fully know what was going on, but he had these vague memories of his father basically, and telling him his purpose in life is to kill his enemies.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that the farmers couldn't install that truth justice and stuff inside of him.
Well, it would have been a very different last season.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have our kind of our evil Superman parody. Is Demon King Piccolo Jr. He is forming, and he's gonna grow up a lot in 3 years. Let's say that much.
Yeah, can't do. Yeah, Piccolo Junior's quite young.
So at the end of the day, this is nice. At the end of the end of our saga here, everyone's training to measure up to Goku now. So in a sense, Goku even surpassing Tien. Tien was very impressed during. I love the levity in that during the Demon King Piccolo fight. Tien was like almost giddy as a schoolgirl, was like watching Goku just impress him. Like he's like leaps and bounds beyond the fight that they just had like probably like a week or so ago. And he's just like so impressed, and he's like taking on Demon King Piccolo effortlessly. So at the end of the day, so with after everything we went through in the last arc, the fact that Goku has kind of become Jackie Chun for everyone else, I think is really, and this is now mind this is an idea that we're really going to drive home in the last arc that we have coming up. But I like that we've kind of put that forward here that Goku has kind of inspired everyone to kind of self improve upon themselves. So it's again Master Roshi passing the torch. It's kind of nice to see his greatest student has kind of like become that unknowingly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which kind of surpasses what Roshi kind of saw for himself.
which is nice. I mean, they're never going to get to his level, but
Well, yeah, but that's the point, though. It's like he's become like he always thought Goku would need that challenge, but at the end of the day, Roshi somewhat had it wrong, only because he could never. It was unprecedented. It's not that Roshi had the wrong ideas; it's the fact that Roshi never in a million years would have seen it coming that Goku would become like he was essentially he was Jackie Chan all along. He would be like the immeasurable thing that people would chase and try to measure up to.
I mean, he never imagined anybody would be able to legitimately defeat King Piccolo without the evil containment wave.
Exactly. So it's very fitting. It's very nice. So again, our ending. Importantly, we want to show that Krill and everyone came back and we missed them. So we we want to establish that Goku was successful. His friend, we ended with a dead Krill, and we end with Krill and everyone alive and well and inspired the always the highlight of any Dragon Ball any chapter in Dragon Ball World Martial Arts Tournament.
Yes. So, unfortunately, Goku will not be able to see his friends for 3 years, but
Yep, he's gonna be busy.
training under Kami and Popo.
Yep, Mr. Popo.
But it's for an important mission.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So overall, I think again pretty great, right?
It was. Yeah, it was very great. It was a very good. It was a very fun arc. I mean, the special water was kind of
Yeah, it's a cheat, but
and kind of a Deus Ex Machina. The darkness though is actually pretty creepy looking.
oh yeah,
I know I believe that's also kind of inspired by some kind of Japanese mythology or something like that.
yeah.
So yeah. So Dragon, anything else to say?
No, just again, I get a lot of this was always a meaningful. This is honestly one of the chapters I was looking most forward to getting to. I have a lot of love for this the feeling I had watching and reading through the Demon King Piccolo saga and just like be on the edge of my seat and just like again when you get to the third act and you get to like Goku fighting having his rematch with Demon King Piccolo, it was like it's a Hall of Famer bout. It is it's everything you love in Dragon Ball, but it also has like the stakes and everything that went into it. Just like we really used our supporting cast well. I didn't really dwell on it. We don't need to. It's just the whole. I wish my only hesitation is like I really don't like championing the Dragon Ball Kai approach to the Dragon Ball Z Kai approach. Now there's nothing against it, but it's just I don't like championing it because I like the ability to choose the filler. But what I didn't realize in having that opinion is that the filler is interwoven through a lot of stuff, and we kind of see that here even where it's we're in the middle of fighting Demon King Piccolo, but we're also seeing Yamcha, Launch, and Bulma, like, in the plane, like, heading to the battle, thinking they're going to have to, go for the last ditch effort, which, of course, we know is going to be completely pointless, especially Yamcha in his current condition. So why bother? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
It's pointless and we don't need it. So, yes, like, it's like a part of me. It's like I love filler and I love having it, but I admit, like, having filler, and this is something that I'm sure, the free, we get to the Namek Saga, we're gonna have a lot of that there, but it just feels like having it interwoven in the middle of the action. That's the hesitation that I have, and I mean, a part of me would be open to, like, Dragon Ball specifically getting kind of like the Kai treatment, but only if, because again, the Dragon Ball manga does hold very well. I still love a lot of the filler that we get, but if only we could ensure certain things maintain themselves, and we don't just like for me, the fear with Kai has always been, like, we cut out a lot of the good jokes and a lot of the good moments that we have in between things, like, like when we trim out things that are within the main story that we kind of need to, like, that, those kind of things, we kind of cut them out just for, like, snappier pacing. These are the kind of things I fear, and I don't want to risk losing that. Now, at the end of the day, though, again, while I do think that is the only detriment, that and the BS, like, ultra divine water thing. Taking that off the table, I think this is still, like, one of the top tier. Like, this is when Dragon Ball kind of grew up, and for the arc of this show and where it's going, it's a progression. And by the next arc, we're gonna get to when things really grow up, and we're in kind of the Proto Z era, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And it's still, this was the big turning point. This is when you're starting to grow up with Dragon Ball, and this is it leaves an impression, it leaves an impact.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
All right.
An impact right through Demon King Piccolo's chest. Yeah.
So, Dragon, did you happen to find anything while we were talking?
Well, Jacob, I found something buried.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, it's glowing. It's making the wah wah doo sound.
If I remember correctly, Dragon, is that one of the Dragon Balls?
Either that or Christopher Nolan's laundry's done. Yes, that's one of the Dragon Balls.
Oh, that makes it 6.
Yep, one more and we get a wish.
Oh, yeah. I know what we're gonna wish for.
Well, Jacob, you already have clean underwear.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping you do too.
Well, yeah.
Good.
We're already wearing the most comfortable pair of underwear.
Yep. And we didn't have to wish for it.
Mind you, Jacob's wearing his on it. We might be wearing them on our heads, but we still have them.
But hey, speak for yourself.
I said both of us.
I know, but I'm just saying, speak for yourself.
Okay.
I don't wear my underwear on my head.
I didn't say your on. I said the world's most comfortable pair of underwear, so you have that as a bonus, as a backup, just in case you need it.
Yep, Maggie. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Point being, it's going to be a different wish, folks. It's going to be a better wish.
Yep. Still remember, the first wish that ever happened in the world of Dragon Ball was for a pair of underwear.
Probably what Delia Ketchum would have wished for.
And the next 2 wishes have been for reviving somebody who died. So as I mentioned, remember when the series was just this lighthearted adventure about a mountain boy with a tail traveling around the world looking for orbs of the bratty teenage girl?
Yep.
Things change, don't they, Dragon?
Yes, they do.
So, all right, ready to head out then?
Let's do it.
All right. Having barely defeated Demon King Piccolo, Goku met with Kami, the guardian of the Earth, in order to revive the Eternal Dragon and all those Piccolo killed. In exchange for this, Goku must train under Kami at the Lookout for 3 years in preparation to stop Piccolo Jr. in their destined showdown at the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament. Good night, everybody.